First Nation.
Oh,
Sue.
it's okay.
Perfect. Missed it. Perfect. And then, so the adoption of the consent agenda will be next. So I'll start with what I'd like to take off is 7.2,
Oh,
7.3, and 7.4. Carry on.
absolutely.
Okay, Marianne, you want to go this way then?
3.1. Maybe I would have to put 3.4 because it comes out at 7.1. So 6.1. 7.1 through 7.9, all of the sevens. 8.2. 11.7.
We have to pull 8.3.
For me,
8.3. And the rest has been, might have been covered.
Evelyn?
So for verification, 8.1 and 8. All of the sevens.
Yeah.
8.1 and 8.3 have been added,
Just
because I
8.3.
want 8.2. 10.1,
So what do you want, 8.1?
yeah, I want 8.2,
they choose good.
sorry, 8, I thought that's what I was asking.
8.1's not, so if you want it, you have to add it.
8.1.
Okay.
So now it's all the 8s. 10.1. 11.1. 11.3. 11.4. 11.5. 11.6. 11.7.
Sure, we have it.
I would like to
Please.
read it, yes, please, because
Because
last
last time-
week, yeah.
Are there any additions? I have an addition. So I'd like to add, the ICC, an email from Scott regarding the ICC for the, recommended, questions that he wants that we can have answered for the ICC meeting. Just so that we're all on the same page of what's being asked of us. So put that under 13.1. Dawn, you have one?
So that's questions from the county fire chief.
Yeah, that we're gonna address at the next ICC meeting, so that we,
ICC or tomorrow's meeting.
no, ICC.
I have a special council meeting
Yes.
and a purchase agreement amendment.
Sorry, you're adding to.
13.1, two special meeting. Just to document the one that didn't happen, basically. And then 13.3 purchase agreement amendment.
Okay, so what I have is 3.1. It's, oh. Here,
I have some more.
oh, you have an
additions.
addition, sorry.
Do you have any additions?
I did. I have a Heritage Weekend debrief. So I guess that's 13.4. And Community Futures Board reimbursement.
It's got 13.5.
That's 13.5, yes.
And 4 was.
Heritage Weekend debrief.
Add to 14. 2. You going to be?
3.
We have a 14 too.
Oh, sorry, I didn't flip the page.
Neither did I.
I didn't understand.
14.3, I guess. Patience.
Section 16,
Is that the same as?
And 14.2 is section 16 as well, it's just not listed. Oh, it's not, sorry, it's above that. Sorry, it is-
so it's section 14 for OIG.
16.
16. And section 19 will be for 14.1.
Yeah, it's right at the top of.
That's
the
what I'm saying,
section.
it's not
Yeah.
14.1.
We tried to change,
Yeah,
because we tried to change it so there wasn't extra motions, like 14.1 being the motion to go into close, so it did make it a little different.
and, we should go to. I think, let's go to 8.4 maybe. We can change that if not. Discussion on consent agenda.
Okay.
And we can defer to the next meeting, but it's something I want to bring up.
Yeah.
So if we're running short of time.
So can, Mel?
Can we just add it to 13 to the new bit, like, and if we don't, 13.6, it's just last
Sure,
minute.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
13.6.
Yeah, 'cause it is the last minute.
Yeah.
And I think I know what you're gonna say. I don't think- We might surprise me.
And that's all.
So I have two additions. So I believe on 13.7 would be, the Beaver Creek Co-op development permit public engagement. And 13, if it's, and we have time, in lieu of time is council consideration of the town hosting the next joint municipality, just to establish a date, because in 2 weeks we have the regular meeting coming up. And I just wanted some sort of alignment so that you all pick the date in advance, not wait till the meeting, but if there's no time, that's fine too.
We can defer so that it's still on the radar.
And that's one, thanks.
All right. I'll go through them, 13.1, sorry, 3.1. 6.1. 7.1 through 7.9, 8.1 through 8.3. 11.1, 10.1, yeah, sorry, 10.1. 11.1, 13, 10, oh my gosh, 11.3 through 11.7. And then the last minute additions, 1 through 8.
And
And we post the third party negotiation.
Yeah. Gary,
I can move to accept agenda with additions.
all in favor? None opposed, so carried. And then so we'll move to 3.1, July 22nd, 2024, regular council meeting minutes.
yeah, so just, and it might change with the further discussion of the consent agenda, but just I'm referring to page 12 of 21 or page 16 of 115. And administration can clarify below, topic 9.8. I would request council omit that at this time because the minutes reflect that that was a consent agenda, but we did do the reading of the bylaws, so perhaps that verbiage in parentheses should be omitted. It was not.
You're correct, it was not part of the debate. I mean, it was debated, it was not part of the consent.
928 is under the consent.
It wasn't part of the recent. They did do first reading, but I do agree, I think it was included in the consent, but then they still did first reading, I think that's where the confusion was. I think it was both. I think it's part of the consent agenda, it wasn't removed. But then
I'll just.
the motion was made. So we'll remove the wording though, because the motion was made.
Thank you.
Evelyn?
Right, and then on page 9, motion 350 to 2024. The motion says bring forward the financial statements when they become available to be presented to council, but I thought we established during that meeting that they don't have to do it, those same 3 groups.
There was discussion, but there was no motion made, so it was that there was nothing clear in the agreements that they have to require them, but there's nothing wrong with us requesting them, which was the motion that was made. So we've still got the request in, whether or not they provide them is up to the groups, I guess, unless council wants to change the motion. But a further motion wasn't made, so we're still actioning the previous
Okay.
ones. We've got the requests out. We've had the response from a few of the groups that they want to know why.
Yeah, and then we discussed how we looked at their leases and realized that it was never part of their lease that they had to do it. So they have absolutely, so.
But I mean, if they want funding from the town, a lot are willing to just provide it regardless, in the event, but the motion wasn't changed, is all I'm saying. So there was discussion, but the motion wasn't changed.
Because because when I looked at the action, it says ongoing, but they're not going
Yeah.
to. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. And one more, where is it in here? And it's just the title of Mrs. attached to Noreen Easterbrook when she's a Ms.
I always try to reference them as Ms. just
Okay.
partly for that reason and partly as a. So we'll change that, thank you.
I can get a motion to accept the previous minutes with the amendments.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Okay,
All right, so I will move to 6.1 administrative reports.
delegation.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't circle it because
Automatic.
Okay, I can sit here all day.
I know that delegations have to be done, but I didn't circle them. We have to be circled.
yeah, that's why we did, because we didn't pick it up, but
We want to hear from the bear.
Okay, wait 20 minutes, I gotta go get him. Isn't tough. The kids were giving him candy yesterday, which.
nothing wrong with that.
I know, right?
That's really sweet.
Well, no, thanks for having me. I did send out the first quarter of the crime stats. This is all, when I send these out, it's for the whole leasing area, right? So it's not broke down for Smoky Lake. But really, for the most part, the town is pretty much status quo. There's nothing been any large crime activities, and usually if there is, I'll let you guys know. I'm also doing another thing is I'm sending every Monday all the CAOs a quick multi-minute media release so that you guys can filter it to your counselors. It's just a quick little update of kind of some of the files that we're working on. It's not every single file we take, because some files don't need to be reported to people. And I kind of keep them very brief and, anonymous, right? So I thought that would be good for you guys kind of know what we're doing.
I was gonna clarify that if I can forward that on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
sure.
haven't been, I've been filing them, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
thank you.
because
So I
it
will
is-
start forwarding those and I'll
Yeah.
send the ones I've received the last.
I also posted on the Real Crime Watch page, posts it as well as, there's a lady in Vilna that posts it on the Vilna crime page, as well as, I'll send it over to the Redwater review, and they'll put it in the media as well. So it's just kind of giving you guys a heads up of what's going on. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Send that as well as, I do send Tamara some little media blurbs we get from our Stratcoms. That she's been, I've been requesting her to put on your guys' town Facebook page. So I know she was on holidays last week. I did send her one last week. I think it was about theft or something. So we get media releases from our Stratcoms all the time, a couple times a month. So, you know, the more places we can share it, more people are aware of it. What people do with it, that's their choice. I can't force anybody to do anything. Other than that, does anybody have any questions for me? Come on, Terry.
Is there anything that you'd like to see from us to help you guys do what you're doing? Is,
If you guys get your cameras working eventually.
no, that's, yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing,
okay.
right? You know.
And by cameras working, you mean connected to your, like?
Ability or just the surveillance.
Yeah,
Right?
we have them connected, it's just they're not good. So the ones on the outside of the building, I think twice now Anita's asked, or just through the station, they've asked for footage, and that day the camera's not working inside. So we're having real issues with the outside ones, and the quality of our cameras aren't great, so I have Raman actually researching to bring to budget discussions to replace the whole system next year.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's been one where it was just, well, let's start with this camera, now we're gonna add these, and we're gonna add these, and yeah,
That's good.
We want a better-
We're addressing.
updated system, yes.
And it ties into the risk,
Yep. Yeah.
the webinar that both of us attended where the questions were asked about who has access and whether you,
Yeah.
yeah.
I asked that
Yes.
question if I was allowed to give you guys access, and they said yes.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen that before, so, and that our cameras on the edge of the city or town, were fine. Yeah, it was an really interesting webinar, actually.
Yes, learned a lot from it, but it actually does tie into
Yeah.
that, so that's good. I'm so happy, I'm happy to hear that because then we can have some policies on that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I would work him.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Kind of ties into public engagement later on. Do you find, are you getting any complaints about people that call and say that they're finding strangers in their alleyways or?
People should call if they see weird things.
So people in alleyways is not something that you hear a lot about?
We haven't got a lot of calls in regards to that, maybe, because I review all the files every day when I come in the morning, and I've never really seen any files pertaining to that, so.
And streetlights are usually something that people like having that because the more you light up a street,
Yeah.
the less harm that people do. Or
Yeah.
criminals do not usually well,
Yeah, they don't lurk in lights, right? So,
streetlights are a good thing. That's all I wanted. Thank you. That's all I need.
yeah, people like, I find sometimes, and I'm the biggest proponent of it, just report it. We need to know whether we do something immediately or not, but we need to know what's happening, right? Because then how are we supposed to track anything, and if, you know, so it's funny when people complain and they're like, well, did you report to the police? Well, no, well, at least tell us. We might not, yeah, you might be right that we can't do anything, but we need to know what's happening, right? Because it might actually tie to something, right? Like you just never know. We'll filter that information as we see fit, right? So, you know, somebody's skulking down a back alley, you know, might tie to a vehicle theft, you know, half an hour later, right? Like, but it's not illegal to walk down a back alley, but if it's not, that person's not supposed to be there
If it
at, you know,
doesn't seem right,
midnight. Doesn't seem
feel
right,
it
call,
probably
right? Yes. And then that's why I think like overall our crime stats are going up, because I think trying to get people to call more stuff in, so, you know.
So when we call and we see something, do we, if it's during office hours,
Yeah, just call
call the local detachment? You ever tried to make a complaint through the?
Don't get me started.
Just wondering.
Yeah, we've called, tried to see how long it takes. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I have no control over
No,
that.
I know you
It's
don't, yeah.
It's horrible.
With the local detachment, when you call to let them know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very like.
Okay, the girls are good, yeah,
yeah.
Monday to Friday, 8 till 4, 35-50, calling a complaint, and usually they'll, you
Yeah.
know, get on it, right? I know it's horrible after hours with our OCC operators in Edmonton. No fault of their own, because, you know, they're short staffed like everywhere, like sometimes there's 2 people taking calls from Northern Alberta and 2 people dispatching from Northern Alberta. And if there's something high risk going on, say like Wainwright, you know, I just, yeah. But if it is emergency, call 911.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would like to maybe in the fall time, have a town hall. I haven't had one since I came here. Just to, you know, make sure we're kind of policing any concerns from the town. We can maybe do something in maybe October, November.
There was a motion to.
I think there was, I brought it in the spring and you guys did do it in the fall, so I would just kind of like.
Like crime prevention, yeah.
Well, either we can do a crime prevention or we can just do a regular town hall. I can maybe see if I can get a speaker in
Fall
from
twenty
Edmonton.
twenty-four. Yeah,
So I'll leave it up to you guys.
It was on an upcoming agenda.
Yeah, that I do.
Yeah, so we can, and then also, this will be brought up at joint council at the end of the month, but I just thought I'd let you know as well. There are gonna be a little bit of changes here at the detachment this fall. We will be losing a member here eventually, probably September, October. Constable Lidstone will be transferring out. He hasn't officially got any paperwork yet, but it is coming, so. And then eventually, 2025, Constable Lidstone will be leaving, so. I try to pre-plan, but the RCMP does not pre-plan. And I'm being just open and honest, because when I sent an email to staff, they're like, we don't pre-plan. Well, you're talking to the wrong person. So, but we'll get through it and we'll, once I know more further information of when he's leaving and what the deal is with the new member, I'll let you guys know, but I just thought I'd give you guys the heads up. So. And sorry I wasn't at your guys' fair this last 2 weekends ago, but I was in Jasper at the fire, so.
That's my spot, I asked.
Yeah, I was there for a week, so. But. Yeah. They're gonna make it through it, and it was just, I was there when that firefighter died, so. That was pretty. But yeah, anything else? I just like to come and keep in contact with you guys, so. We are doing some concrete work at the detachment coming up here in the next couple weeks, so. Holy Chess is gonna let us know. Good, thank you. All right, well, thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Enjoy it.
Thank you for all that you do and you're
Oh, no worries. All right, well, we'll probably see you guys on Saturday. Thank you, very good. Okay, move to 6.1 administrative.
I just wanted to say right off the hop that Public Works and your team did a really awesome job with everything with the parade and everything that goes along with that. And I just got an email about a letter from a resident saying how wonderful the parade was and how well organized it was, and wanted everybody that was a part of it to know that, so thanks.
Good job.
Yeah. Right, and that was all I wanted to say about it. I can't remember what was something.
So I'll go first, because I'm the one that added.
Okay.
And then remember reports, so.
I did that, actually.
Okay, so when it comes to CA report, thank you for all the meetings that you listed, but I don't see, like, so what projects is it that you're working on, or what is in the process for the next few weeks? Like what is,
What I'm working
yeah, what
on.
you're working on, like I see, yes, so listening
Oh,
at
yeah.
meetings, but what is it?
We only had 3 weeks between meetings and I was gone for one of them, and then the agenda's due early, so I only had about 2 weeks worth of stuff to put on here. That's why there's not a lot on here. Working with the project meeting is working with Public Works and development and whatnot on, I've got a Gantt sheet of all of our projects ongoing where we all have different responsibilities to get the different items done. You're putting me on the spot here, thinking about what I have coming up. I'm updating the surveillance policy. I was starting to work on even before that webinar actually, but that one really brought it to front that I really wanted to get that updated. And then reviewing all the other policies that, including the flag policy that was brought to the last meeting. So that one's almost complete. I just got to review it. I was just making an amendment, not redoing it. Getting ready for the, honestly, I'd say half our time, myself and Crystals at least, is getting ready for council meetings, committee of the whole workshops, and then actioning them afterwards. So, I mean, really out of a month for every meeting we have, there's a week before every meeting and then several days after every meeting where we are actioning the directions from council. So that's a huge part of what I do. I started working on the 2025 capital budget, so I started that before I went on holidays. And having the agenda to have a workshop or committee of the whole or meeting to move forward with that. I've got a list of about, I don't know, a handful of grants. Trying to remember off the top of my head, I started a file last week where I was trying to make sure we didn't miss any grant applications using our grant writer. So several of those on that I want to find projects for on how we can action those. Working with groups such as the dog park got funding, so how do we make that happen? Things like that. Talking to residents about their development, including the ones that you had concerns about. I reached out to those ones, and then working with Raman to make sure that we're getting through and communicating with residents. This community engagement, again, same thing, making sure we have all the information and that the business owner is also feeling supported moving forward, and that, yeah, we've got all the facts. Staffing, managing staff meetings.
You mentioned the grants, so is there a grant tracker? Do you have like a list of all the currently?
Yeah, I
in-process
keep a
grants?
spreadsheet of the ones we apply for and whether they're successful. Once they're successful, the amount, when the grant agreement's approved, I have a link to the actual application on the spreadsheet. When the final reporting's done, I mark that off, so I have a spreadsheet of that. But I have a new one of, there are so many on the underway and several that I want to make sure that we're efficiently using this grant writer and he's achieving results for us. So we've chatted and implemented some new processes to make sure that are the applications going out and where we're at. Yeah, no, I know,
Okay,
I know.
so we
I'm on
just
that.
exchange looks and we don't need that here.
No, he
All
started
right, so now,
reporting.
yeah, you know what, yeah.
He started reporting monthly on what he's applied for when we're successful. And I did see a couple more, including like the dog park. Irene mentioned that the Lions Club was successful on that CFAP one, so I was very happy to see that. I did make it clear I need to see more.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much. When it comes to development, what is City View? That was in
City View is, I think that's the development permit, or the e-permitting software that we
That's
went
the
with.
software?
Yeah, that was part of the HAF grant. And it'll do several other things as well, so that's kind of exciting, like some tracking of, I think, complaints and whatnot. You were part of that? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Robin.
Just a correction, so we
Oh,
actually
sorry.
do time work, but City View is one of the ones that I had a meeting with afterwards because they wanted to know what they could improve on the application and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's the one we didn't go with, but it is
Yeah, we
one,
didn't go.
okay, so
Yeah.
he had meetings with several, because we have our request for proposal is quotes, this one was a request for quotes. We usually try to get at least 3, that was one of the ones that he demoed,
Okay.
that our team demoed, yeah.
I see that you said there's an audit RFP submitted.
Mhm.
So is it done differently on a municipal council than it is done on a board? Because usually, well, in all the boards I've sat on, the RFP comes back to us for approval, and then we have a list of who we send it out to that we approve. Then it gets sent out to them, and then when their bids come back in, it comes back to the board, and then we go into closed session to look at the bids and then to decide. And that's what so is
Yeah.
it different when it comes to?
Yeah, with the purchasing, it's part of operations, but
Is it?
with that being said, we're adjusting it slightly. So typically an RFP comes in, we select and we move forward because we've got budget and everything else, but council appoints the auditor. So we don't want to exclude you obviously from that process. So we did the RFP. We've posted it on the Alberta Purchasing Connection, which is for RFPs very suitable for municipalities. We've sent it, we can send it out if there's anyone in particular you're wanting to make sure they have it, we can do that. Because we can also make sure that people are aware it's there. We'll get the applications in, we'll review them, but then we're putting it on the September agenda. I don't remember which one, if it was the 9th or 24th. To review what our recommendation is with council, because you will appoint them at the org meeting. So we wouldn't, we're not bypassing council. We want to make sure that because you do the appointment that it goes to you.
And that's why I wasn't sure, and that's why I prefaced it with saying, as a board
Yeah.
member, that's what I do, but I'm
Yeah.
sitting here now as a counselor,
It
and for all I
depends.
know that we don't do that, so
And
that's why.
it really depends on the type of board, right? So if it's a an advisory board, you wouldn't be as involved, but if it's more of a governing board, you are, right? It's like the library hires people, but, well, and so do you as council, but it's also different because you delegate everything out to the CAO. So it's just, yeah, but we are bringing it back to you.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
And that's why we wanted it in the report, so you were aware we're on this.
Okay.
And then we'll bring back recommendation, to, I don't remember when it closes. So it was the 9th or 24th, so that we could then appoint in October.
Okay, and thank you for that clarification. Also under administrative reports, financials, or like the accounts payable, operating position. So what's going
Yeah,
on?
it got missed. It was, sorry, Crystal mentioned to me this morning that she realized it was, that time of year. So it just got missed. It'll go on
So July,
September's, yeah.
so you were gonna have, because we usually have January, February, March, you bring to us in April, May, so you're, right now, we need to see April, May, and June. Okay, so you'll bring it to the next meeting? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's been a very busy summer and it just missed both. We usually have it written down. Now we both missed it.
Well,
so.
honestly, I missed it last month, and I mean, as in, I saw that it wasn't there,
Right.
but I thought perhaps a wedding. And so I went, oh, okay, we'll see it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, we'll see it, and then it wasn't on the auction.
She actually literally brought it to me this morning and said, I realized
Okay.
that I missed this, so we will make sure.
And then, finally, Maria Close, what's going on there, because I do have people that sent me picture, I do have there's another problem there, so I'm assuming, has that owner been in contact with you via email today?
They're working on a leaking CC though. It was.
As we speak, is that okay,
Yeah, I believe they're out there right now.
okay. So I'll put it this way, where we were doing all the work on those 2 lots on the corner, we've moved over to the next 2 lots, that's where we're working?
So, yeah, we turned that valve and it was leaking slightly, not a major leak, like barely any leak, but we're repairing that.
Because you're repairing it as we speak.
Yep.
Okay. And that's it that I have for administrative. Barry?
I was just wondering if either you or Raman can just, it said here that these sales agreements were to be completed or hopefully by the 9th. Is there any verbal report you can give us how it went?
Robin, are all the agreements completed other than the one we've added today?
Sorry, so we actually have, in terms of left, I just have 2 left to sign.
One we just need to amend the wording on, so.
Thank you. And then
Oh,
just good job in getting that big air compressor in front of the crack ceiling. Gets all the, yeah.
Makes it better.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was originally purchased for, and then some people got away from using it. Gets all the sand out. Thank you. Good job.
I was sure to pass on that feedback from last year, so. Our job, our crew's done a very good job with crack.
And it's also good to see them out earlier when it's cooler. I noticed that going to work early the other day.
We
Get
have
out
some of
there.
them working at 5 right now, well, when
Yeah.
it's so hot,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
We just keep
Later.
John on later, because we need somebody here to deal with the fires that we, not little fires, hopefully. Hard to now that I said that, but. You're good.
that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have 4 questions pertaining to what the written report is. And one is just kind of a check-in for Dawn. The website, it was noted that you're working on it, so it's on track. I think at earlier meeting said that we'll have a completion at the end of summer and.
Well, what I had said is, I believe what I said was that, the question was, should we be hiring a contractor to do it? And I said, how about we check in at the end of summer?
Okay.
It's an ongoing thing. It'll never be done because you're like, they posted new pictures from the parade after the parade last weekend. So it's an ongoing thing. But a few of our crew, like the follow-up website meeting was, we had what were we in here for 5 hours or something? A team of us working actively, like actually updating the website and then but then a bunch of items were delegated out. So it was following up on those, and we'll continue to do that until all the items that we delegated out and as we continue to find things. And again, I want it kept modern, so as we have the parade and whatnot, that we get photos out there.
And the second one is for the development officer. There was noted in his report that the digital sign solution and it tied in with an eFax problem. I thought the sign was on a road. So I'm not sure what's the eFax.
Oh, it's just a different. Sorry,
At the sign? or-
no. No, just our fax isn't working. We switched phone systems and the faxing isn't working on the new system, so
Oh,
it's
so-
two different issues.
Oh.
Sorry,
okay.
Ron.
So just, it's, okay, so it's not, has nothing to do with the sign.
No, sorry.
Okay, it's just one bullet, but.
Yeah.
So then the third question is, for Public Works, when they had noted that they helped with the rodeo setup, is that something where it's substantial and we want to track the labor in kind, like pumpkin growers, or it's more just helping out?
I believe it was just like installing the speed limit signs and
Oh.
parade's ours, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, John just walked out and.
What else do we do with the rodeo?
It says assisted with rodeo setup, I think it's mainly that. Hey, yeah, I think it was mainly the speed signs and, you know, I know last year they requested a little bit of painting, they helped with that, but no, I don't think it's significant on that
Okay.
weekend.
They did have a bucket truck for us.
Okay.
At 1 o'clock. from
Okay.
7 to-
Oh, yeah, so there you go, bucket truck helps everything, but no, it's not significant, it's
Thank you. And so just to note that there's no firework. And that's the second.
I requested several times, both months, and I'm sorry it was not. I did repeat, I asked more than once, so I will have a chat. We will have a chat to make sure that they are coming in. So I apologize. It's challenging. I mean, to be fair, this is somebody who's in a volunteer position, but she has paid some admin time. So, but she is in a volunteer position. So you know, I empathize with that, but I do think it's important we're getting those reports. So I will see if she needs some support. Maybe she needs to come in and work with us and we can help her with the process, might be better. I can provide that because if she's not able to do it on her own, maybe there's other things that are barriers. So yes.
So, Mary Ann, do you mind if I just finish?
No, go ahead.
And thank you, Dawn. I was under the understanding it was compiled in the office.
No,
So, sorry,
no.
I wasn't trying to be
No,
combative, I
no.
just.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It's just, I have asked and but again, I think there was some issues with the printer at one point and stuff too, so, and again, she works a full-time job and she's a volunteer firefighter. So I have asked, I think there's some challenges there, so I think if we can provide her some in-house support and have her come in and meet with somebody, then maybe that'll help both of us and get you the.
My understanding is that it was submitted to this office and then it was compiled through the admin, so sorry.
Well, yeah, her report is submitted and then I, just like all the other directors, I put it in, I can pile it into one, but all the data comes from.
Thank you.
And again, it's, you know, busy fire season, whatnot, so,
Definitely, yeah.
Evelyn?
And that's what I was gonna
Yes.
ask too, is because I don't, yes, it's nice to get reports, but at the same time, the most important job is to be out there, but when you said in-house support and everything like that, kind of basically
We'll see what we can
took
do
away
to
what I
support
was
her
gonna
and,
talk about. So.
yeah, thank you.
All right, that's it. No, we had-
I could just do a little comment, part of the report. In the absence of our chief, there have been almost a call a day. Either MVCs, medical assist, it's phenomenal how many calls they've been getting. So,
So that makes
just,
it challenging, right?
Yeah.
yeah, just to fill in. Like,
So we'll find a way to get the data and then work with her on it, to give her the support. Cause it's just not happening and it's not lack of asking, and I'm sure it's not lack of trying on her end, right? So, yeah.
That's where the catch-22 comes in, is because exactly what Terry just said. She's doing what she's supposed to be
Yes.
doing, and at the same time, it would be good to hear, like, I do wanna know that that's what's going on, so, yeah, okay. So, go ahead, you're gonna make the motion, okay. Steal it away.
Deal. I'll make a motion to accept the administrative reports.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And we'll move to deferred items and old business. So 7.1, delegation of the RCM. Marianne?
I'd like to move that the town of Smoky Lake accept for information the Q1 community policing report for the Smoky Lake detachment presented by Smoky Lake RCMP Sergeant Anita Doctor on August 12th, 2024.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And see, that one could just be on the consent agenda, right? Or
I guess the only bad part would, I agree, but the only bad part would be if something else came up, but then you could make another motion, I guess. So, but yeah, it's one that was pretty straightforward. It's just you don't know if something else is going to come up, I guess, during the delegation where you say, oh, and we should book the public engagement, but we already have a motion for that, right? So,
okay,
yeah. Yeah.
7.2, 20. Did you call the question? I thought I said all in favor. Yeah, so I waited till it was done. So 7.2, 2024 capital project update.
I can speak to this
Yeah.
quickly, just that. So what we did with the capital budget is we broke down each item individually, and what we're finding is, for instance, I put window replacement, but when we talked to a contractor, they said your seals are still good. He didn't recommend it, but he did recommend that we insulate the bottom windows. Our office gets very cold in the winter, our feet freeze. And then we want to put glass doors in here if we could, but definitely on the other side so that we can have that door shut. Because what happens is the public come in, and now that we're using that as a counter, because it's solid, we keep it open. So if we have a glass door, people can see that that's the way to go, and then we get the wheelchair access on the two doors. So we thought if we could just compile it into one and then just get everything done. Easier, because our hands are very tied by, well, 7,500 for window replacement. Well, now I need to come back and say, okay, well, actually, what if it's doors and insulating windows? And then what if if the handicap access is 8,600, and we're under by 100 on one of the other projects, I have to come back to council because it's capital. So if we could just consolidate them into office renos, it would just allow us to just get, so it's the glass doors, the window insulation. When we took down the quote for the painting came in on budget, but then they did the parging on where the metal was, and then they resealed the windows or re-caulked the windows, I think, which ended up putting it over. So instead of bringing it back for that individual item, if we could just consolidate them all, and then at the end, if there's an issue, we'll bring it back. But this way should be able to stay within. And then the second one is the sidewalk by the police station. To do the project on that side of the road, we need a lot of infill, a lot of work to level that out in culverts. So we're recommending the other side of the road. The challenge, and then there was also utilities there, right? Yeah, so we're recommending, and John's got a great an article or a diagram in here. That's for the fibers, sorry. So we're recommending the other side of the road. Sorry, I thought we had a picture of the when we go along down the road, I guess across from the police station, we're actually wanting to go on the inside of the because there's Telus Optic on the outside. Is that the one there's, or it's sewer lines? Fiber?
There's sewer there, but yeah, there's cables in there too, but we can avoid those.
So we want to do the inside beside the service lane. I will tell you, in John wrote in his report, there was a complaint from one of the residents who spoke with some of his neighbors. He was worried about drainage there and suggested we do it on a walking lane on the road. My recommendation is we don't, because I think that opens us up for liability even if we're marking it, unless we want to do barricades or something to protect the people walking. But I think we can address the drainage on this where the sidewalk is by addressing the drainage.
So almost like a bike path? Like what you see in the
Basically,
city
yeah.
barricades, they're suggesting that we do it that way,
For walking, though.
but for walking.
Yeah. I think if we wanted to look into that, I would recommend legal advice, because I think there's liability issues if you tell people to walk on. And someone gets hit.
That,
So I'm not recommending that route, but I did want to make sure we brought it forward because the resident did bring it forward.
Gary?
Only thing is, with no sidewalk, we're almost telling you to walk up the road right now. But with, I think without having a sidewalk there. I don't know if people go across the street in the car, or are they mostly walking down?
I mean, we could end the sidewalk before that area and do nothing. I'd recommend that over putting a walking trail. But we could say, instead of putting it there, because we're gonna have to prune back the trees a little bit in that area to put the sidewalk there. But we do feel that there's enough room. But the other option would be literally just end it before that, and then they can walk down the service lane, but we're not telling them to walk down the service lane.
Terry?
Just a note, La Claviche just redid their main street water and sewer in 3 sections. And now there is, I don't know what you wanna call it, but there's a 2-foot from the parking, angle parking to the street thing. And it's like a bike lane, just painted now.
Bike lanes are
Why?
huge nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and we have a bike lane. Right down the center road. I actually like, yeah, I don't have an issue with the sidewalk on the south side of the street, actually. I think it's better than going in front of doing all that filling in front of the RCMP station. But I think maybe, I don't know what rest of council, but I like the idea of stopping right before that.
So I was just talking
And
actually,
then
so.
do we need to put up a pedestrian crossing?
And we were going to put up a few of those, so, because the sidewalk is on the north side of the road, and then we'll have a crosswalk crossing over, and then,
And once we
yeah.
put the crosswalk up, it probably relieves their liability of people walking.
Evelyn, did you have a question?
I did, although yes, I used my question to go, yes. I like what Terry is saying. So thank you for showing us why this original choice was not the best choice. So we're talking about starting right there at 54th Street then? We're gonna have a pedestrian cross, sidewalk all the way down, because I know, because that's my street right there, once we get to the Soul Baptist Church, that's where the sidewalk begins on the other side again, so.
Yeah.
And then that's the property that we hope to have development on. So do we keep going, or do we stop it right there? What is the proposal? Because you don't have I'm not seeing what you're proposing, I just see why we're not doing it.
Okay, so can I explain it? Okay, so from using landmarks, so from the Baptist church across the street to the south, all the
So
way
that-
down
So there's gonna be a
towards.
cross.
Yeah,
That's like-
that's
that's
what Terry
right.
was saying, a crosswalk there, and then, so then it would be on our side of town.
Yeah, I know.
All the way down until you get to that curve that goes in to the housing, yeah, like,
To that
Yes,
alley.
to that little, yeah.
yeah, so then it would stop at the end of, just at the end of our block, like 52nd Street.
2 crosswalks and one of them just before the 4-way stop.
No, the next block, Baptist Church. Block, yeah.
50.
Yeah,
Street
half
is-
block, okay, okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's not a full,
Yeah.
it's actually,
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking. Cause there's an old sidewalk right at that stop sign.
Yes.
4-way stop, if you look at it, there's a very old, like probably from the 1930s.
On the south.
Yes,
Okay.
south, west.
And we're using the existing one from 50th Street to 51st on the north side by the Baptist church. Then we'll do a crosswalk across the road. And then go on the south side of the street all the way to either,
My back end.
okay? And, or if we want to do inside that service lane right up to the S. UFA. Or UFA, I guess, yeah, SO on the other side, but yes, UFA. So if we do the sidewalk inside that service lane, like on the grass though, like if we put one in there. We would then do a crosswalk at an angle over to, from basically UFA to S. But if we don't do a sidewalk, I guess we can still do a crosswalk, but then we're kind of saying walk there. Although people are walking there anyways, but yeah.
Terry?
So where was the drainage issue?
They were just concerned that the water, when we do snow
Further
clearing,
east?
For the houses facing the RCMP station,
Yeah, that.
there's a little drainage ditch that runs to the storm drain. Yeah.
But we feel we could run, I mean, just build up the sidewalk a little or dig down a little and
Curb and.
curb in if we need to, like, we feel that there's ways we can address the drainage.
Marianne?
So do the costs that were previously budgeted impact the change to the south side?
It's actually probably cheaper because the other side we need to spend quite a bit to bring in backfill and culverts. So we're within budgets. And they're starting the school today, tomorrow. By the old school, we still don't have the Department of Transportation's approval by the new school yet, but we're pushing them to, in hopes of getting it approved before. So we're stressing that it needs to be done by the end. So
Sorry, I just have one last question for motion number 1 to the recommended to consolidate. Are the 3 projects that you want to consolidate, are they completed or?
No, just the painting and signages. But yeah, so just so we can keep moving, we've got quotes on everything else, but we just want to make sure that we're good to move forward on everything.
Gary?
I'm ready to move the Town of Smith Lake Amendment 2024 capital budget to consolidate the 3 office renovation projects into one project totaling 26,000 for the paint, signage, office renovation projects. Signage, handicap access, and window replacement to complete the office renovation.
All in favor? None opposed, carried.
So now,
We need a motion to.
okay, that's what I was gonna say. Are we going to move it there for now, or we're just gonna make it up to the back alley and then do it later?
It's up to you if you want to do this motion, we would just keep going on the inside of that service lane, on the south side. Where the service lane is, or if you want us to stop it, you can, that's within budget, but if you'd rather us not do a sidewalk there, you can say, but to stop at.
Let's stop and then get consultation if there's been some concern, if that's or interest of council.
So to stop at, is that 50?
Or what's the back alley?
Back alley of 50
Back
second.
alley?
The back.
Okay. Okay, the back alley of 52nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and where do you think the concerns coming from? Just, okay. You want their,
Well, there,
okay, I see, yeah, I'm.
We can install that sidewalk and then.
that's the easy
See what
part.
we get.
No,
That's
You can walk down the service lane, they're not on the highway then, but we're not putting a walking lane to tell them to walk down the service.
Well,
And then if there is any drainage, like if we have to put curb or something, there will be there's,
Difference in budget.
yeah, the pretty large budget implication for a curb,
Yeah.
so.
So we can bring it back in the future if we find there's concerns that we didn't continue with. But if you're comfortable with that, I think that's a good solution, John.
Great.
I like it.
So you're gonna change it or you're just gonna stick?
No.
Okay, it doesn't change it, okay, then I will. And I just wanna say before we do that too, that great to see the positive feedback that we're receiving for the cleanup of the building outside. Because here we are talking about paint and storage, but we actually haven't acknowledged that, so that is really
Yeah.
good, so thank you very much, it's nice to have it look professional. and Modern,
I'm glad you like it.
and it says open for business, that's
It's a
what I
tough
say.
decision choosing the colors and whatnot, but on behalf of the town, so.
Well, I would have gone with orange, but. So I'm gonna make that next motion that Town of Smoky Lake approve the sidewalk install on 44 Avenue in Smoky Lake to be located on the south side of the road from 50th Street to 54th Street.
Or to 50, the back alley,
Back alley,
52nd.
See, that's what I asked. I said, no, I need to change the motion. You said no, because I'm like, sorry, I will, so change not from 54th Street, but to Mel's back alley.
The back alley is
Because
52nd
we're a
Street.
small town, that's how we talk around
Yeah.
here. The Mel's back alley.
Now I see where 54 Street is.
Yeah.
Where's 54 Street?
I know.
And it's only on the south.
Only one little, yeah.
All right.
all in favor? None opposed, no carried. 7.3 staircase installation at H.A. Costash School. Mel?
So I went back and forth on this one for a very long time. But I have to say that in the scheme of things and when you take everything into consideration, I'm in favor of the recommendation. Even though it is more money, a galvanized staircase will prevent maintenance, slipping, banging. The aluminum is a good option, but it's malleable, isn't it? Like it seems weaker and I don't know about the lifespan. So I am in favor of biting the bullet, doing it once.
And it's going to a new building.
Yes, and it's already wood staircases, the painting and the maintenance. So I think I'm in favor of the recommendation, so I'd like to go ahead and make that motion, then there's no discussion then. The town of Smoky Lake proceed with the galvanized steel staircase to connect the sections of sidewalk on either side of the steep grade located at 5019 50th Street in Smoky Lake in the amount not to exceed 35,000 to provide access to HAK school to be funded from grants and approve the project in the 2024 capital budget.
All in favor? No opposed, so carried. 7,
It's not a question.
Ron, can you
Yeah,
come
we
in
didn't have
and
any discussions. She had kind of changed it, and this is the way we're gonna do it, all right, I agree with you, but we didn't get to actually. You're not doing it, call the question.
well, you don't need to discuss if you all agree.
Yeah, I just had some
Well, we still
Okay.
want to discuss.
concern. So are we doing a sidewalk on the inside of the old school? Along the trees to the north?
It's actually what was approved was, you know, where the teachers' parking used to be, the
Yeah.
plugins?
Yeah.
Right there, because we couldn't,
So along the tree?
yeah, along the trees in their parking lot basically. And then across, and then we'll go across the gravel and then it'll go down the hill, so the grade was too.
East.
Just go straight north,
You'll go straight north?
straight northville.
And then along by the school.
And the reason I'm asking is I'm in charge of parking for
Mhm.
Pumpkin Fair. And we were there yesterday and I was wondering if there's gonna be construction in there in October.
We've stressed that I called before I went on holidays, the Department of Transportation and just to
Even
say,
on the Aspen View, we have to get their permission.
she didn't think we'd need it, and then she got back to us and said, actually, yeah, we do need it. So I said, please push this through as soon as possible with all the hassles we've had and the school coming back in, we really need it done this month. So we're starting the old school, because that's already been approved, we already have the agreement in place with Aspen View. If we don't quite have approval, we'll move to 44th, or the 4th, I always get confused with the 40th, and then go back to that one. I'll follow up with them.
I did have a question about it too, because my experience with these in the city is that they're usually about 20 steps and it's a platform, 20 steps platform. Do we know what this one's gonna be? Because
Yeah, there's a drawing in the RFP.
yeah, I was looking at it, so
It's gonna be like 5 or 6 steps and then a landing. And then another 6 steps.
just 5, 6 steps landing, 5, 6 steps landing.
Something like that, yeah.
The drawing's on page 51, you see?
Yeah, so it's just 5, that's what I'm saying. My experience is with 20, so like, is that just the grade of it? That it,
I think it's because it goes down really steep and then it kind of doesn't a second dip, I believe.
okay, because it's so steep, you can't go that many steps. It has to be short platform,
And
few
it-
step platform.
yeah, kind of, yeah, it works better with the grade.
Okay.
Yeah, 6. All right, 7.4, allocation of plan number 2562 BS RLY 59 as developer.
I just asked Roman to look at this because when I brought it forward whenever I brought it forward last year, we were basing it on everything that had come forward previously, and it was just approved at that location. So it's kind of at the tail end of that. So when we looked at it, we just wanted to make sure that because it sounds like they've got funding or most of the funding ready, I wanted to make sure we were ready on our end so that when they're ready that we can move forward. So I'll hand it off to Roman.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a complex situation. So when we look at SPIN, so the Government of Alberta's website for titles and stuff, it shows up as a titled lot. But it should be a road plan or part of the road plan. So I still haven't received word from Land Titles just yet on what it actually is. But once we found out whether it's a road for a title lot, we can proceed forward accordingly. Depending on how much we want to follow the proper protocols, essentially. What we can do is, for example, if it is a titled lot, we can accept that we have a road running through our property and just have it zoned for like direct control, and then we can just use it as a dog park. That will still require a public hearing. And that way we don't have to do surveying in this way though. The other way is we can subdivide that portion and have a title lot just for the dog park portion, and then have the other portion register as a road. So if we do that, we need to get it surveyed, registered, all that fun stuff, and that will cost a lot more. And then if the other option is, this is actually considered a road, so that whole portion on the attachments there would be considered road. So then we'd have to legally close the road, same thing, surveying, bylaw, and then we can have that.
Why is it considered a road? Why, like, what is the purpose there to be considered a road?
It just register as a road, like, that's fine.
So if you look on
So-
page 57, the bottom
Yeah.
half of it, the weird angle there, that's all road.
Yeah,
So
oh,
then the whole thing's just been registered as a road, an
yeah,
industrial.
58 a better picture,
yeah, and
bigger one.
yeah, when I say
Yeah,
yeah.
considered, sorry, I meant a response of land title. So right now, when I looked at legal description up, it shows up as a title lot.
And it's that whole V
Yeah.
and everything?
Yeah, but it should be part of a road plan rather than a title lot. So once they figure that out where that problem is, we can see what the best way, but I'm pretty sure they're going to say that it's a road and not a title, so.
Okay.
So. Question on figure 2,
Mhm.
on page 58. The black lines. What does that mean?
Road, the road, that's where I live.
Mhm.
So do you drive on to go to Marianne?
So that's what the black lines
Never
mean?
goes to turn.
Just grab, oh,
So that black line in GIS, that's just what's classified as a road in our system. So those black lines will just tell you what the address of that road is. So that's just in our system, so you don't have to consider that black line. But mostly that green portion, that's the one that's titled as well.
That's what I
Yeah.
was just wondering.
No?
Okay, so can I just put it in layman's terms and tell me if I'm wrong? So land titles has this possibly titled as a piece of property when our town road drives right through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the road isn't registered then with land titles correctly, so we have to correct. So really, if we just did what he said at the first thing, where we just have it as direct control, we can have a road running through our own
Our road,
property
yeah.
under direct
Because
control,
we're the title.
because
Yeah.
we own it. So in layman's terms, that would be the easiest,
And cheapest.
Yeah,
and it
Cost
seems a lot easier to wrap my head around that than to subdivide and make this section a road and this section a dog park and this section of whatever. So that's what
I
my
guess you're,
understanding.
you're waiting to find out though
yeah, what it actually
if it
is.
could actually be titled as a road. With.
Yeah, and then they would get rid of the
And
title
then
and
we're-
just have it as a road plan.
Working progress.
Marianne?
So, the timeline from land titles would be about 3
Should
months?
be soon. I had Mike reach out to them last Friday.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
so
then
shouldn't
is-
be any long.
I'm from the personal thought of, I don't ever wanna put council in a decision process without public opinion, right? But, have we ever thought of maybe reaching out to the Lions and say if there's another location? Cause when we look at this, where would we be planning for parking? Like, so the dogs are not local, they're, say their owners are coming in from the community or the county and they're driving here with their dogs for that socialization piece. Is there an opportunity, like where did we think we were gonna park the people?
Evelyn?
Well, no, well, I'll go as soon as this.
Yeah.
On the
Mostly just going to be along, is it White Earth or the other one?
Railway.
Railway Avenue, right, just along there, rather than having a separate parking spot just for that.
And I see people parked at Pumpkin Park a lot for that, and then I also see them parked on the edge of Public Works area too. Almost on the grass by the road.
Yeah.
Right, oh, sorry, Evelyn and then.
So as a dog owner, I'm gonna say that that suggestion to park there really is terrible for a dog park, because you want the parking right beside the dog park. If there's one complaint about it at the West Lock Dog Park, is that they actually have no parking at all, that they force you to park on the street and to do it. So usually dog parks do have some sort of gravel right by the gates. You take your dog out of the car on a leash, you walk to the gates and you do it this way. I also remember when we did this, we had different choices, and then this is the one that we selected. This is going back, and then the Lions came back to us and said, well, because basically we said, okay, we're gonna give you land to put the dog park on, but they're the ones that needed a little bit more of specific area so that they could measure it, and then they had something very specific to do. So I actually think that it's not worth going through all this work for a dog park and this investment. I would prefer to change the location of the dog park.
Marianne, I thought you had, or you were. Or was it Mel that had an answer? All right, Dawn. I thought it was.
Kind of agree, but I didn't want to bring it up because council already made the motion to go this direction. So I thought if it
Well, you
gets
were saying-
brought up, one other and the only bad part with this location is it doesn't bring people, it's off the highway and it doesn't bring people into downtown.
Amen.
But I looked at across or in front of the solar panels, it's zoned recreation. It would be it'd benefit our local residents because it's by our parks. There's parking at the Agriplex. It's probably a little bigger than the current one. But it is off 50th Street. It's right across from the school, but there's no residents there, so our barking dogs are an issue. It was one that when we started looking that day, when we were like, is this the best location? When we looked through, that was the one location that because the other ones I looked at and I don't know, we can bring this back if you want to the next meeting with all those other options. I didn't think any of them were great, honestly, but I don't know what you guys think of in front of the solar panels.
Terry.
What are the orange lights in the pictures?
Just make them all one color next time. Okay, while you guys are looking at orange lines,
Page 57 or? Oh. don't know.
I don't like in front of solar
No.
panels
Okay,
at all. I don't want
All those
fences.
are
I
usually
don't
right.
love the fence around the solar panels, so I don't think by the road, I don't really like that idea. We have to fix this problem anyways. Like, there's a road there. It's not done properly. We need to do something anyways. I would like to wait and come back with what land title says, and then we can go from there.
Evelyn?
I'm all for procrastinating, not doing anything there, because it's gonna cost us money, so why do anything until we're in a position where we are forced to do something? So I think it's just easier to move the dog park and take a look at a lot of different options rather than. And I'm surprised to hear you say that, because I know that you don't like parks costing the town money, and this is gonna cost us money if we can.
No,
think about it.
not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is just wait to hear back from land titles and then deal with it once we know. I'm not suggesting
Okay.
spend the money. I'm suggesting just
Okay.
put the brakes
That was
on.
my
find
understanding.
it- yeah,
My
no problem.
apologies. I thought you were like, no, we gotta do it anyway.
No, just put the brakes on until we find out.
Marianne?
And so I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think in the lieu of time, we don't know, it could be 3 months, but I'm prepared at this time to make a motion. Unless
you can make one.
Dawn, based on Dawn's recommendation. In the meantime, while we're waiting, that admin brings back other alternate locations for
But then we
council
have-
consideration.
Conflicting motions.
Okay,
Can
so
I just-
before, I didn't make the motion, but I was just like saying, did we not know this in 2023 or?
Okay.
Quickly.
Go ahead.
Okay, we already did this. I just feel like we're going backwards. They were all brought here. We all went through them and we all found a spot and now
This could be a very minor issue if.
it might not be
come up
anything.
Really good.
I don't know. I think we looked,
And I think parking
Spots and
can
the
be
line.
adjusted.
Who's talking? Which one?
I'm talking. I think that the Lions, like, we gave them a spot already. We talked to them. Didn't they base their whole grant on it? Like, I do feel like. But I'm fine with looking at it again, but we will have to, we already had a motion to do that, so we'll have to just change it.
Dawn?
One thing, we don't necessarily have to park on West Railway Ave, because there are side roads here. Can we, this is ours. We have the gas gate station, could we do some parking in there?
I don't think there's much room. There's the fence.
Area on the north side.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, there's,
It could be side street parking.
yeah, I mean,
It doesn't go anywhere. Used to go,
This-
I used to have the yard there and it went
Yeah.
there.
there's not a lot of traffic on that
No,
road
it's a-
beside it, on
It's a
the
dead end.
south side,
actually.
south side.
Yeah,
So I mean, I agree, I don't think we want to encourage on West Railway Drive, but I think on the side road right beside it would be adequate
East
there.
Railway Drive. Is
Is that
that
what that
East
is?
Railway Drive at the curve and then continues on?
Yeah, the north, yeah, so we could do it there.
I still think it's an idea.
Okay, Evelyn. Also, just keep in mind when we talk about this is that the next step will be adding dog park signs along the highway too.
To get out.
Because one of the reasons why, yes, we want to attract highway traffic. All those people with their dog, crazy dog people, they're freaks.
I look at
Yep. Yes, I'm holding up a mirror to my face as I say that. They will come off the highway, they will drive down. That's why we wanna drive it that direction too, so to just kind of keep that in mind. Also wanna point out that St. Paul, I do tease my St. Paul colleagues and tell them that I'm gonna get a dog park before they get a dog park. So there's a little bit of competition going on here. But they did have a public hearing where they had 2 different locations, and then they had a public engagement session where the public could basically come out and give their positive response to it. So I just wanted to bring that up as well, since we're having a public engagement session tonight.
Alright, Mary
I'm
Ann?
ready to make the motion.
Okay.
I move that the town of Smoky Lake defer until land titles outcome is presented at a future meeting of council.
All in favor? Not opposed, so carried. And we'll move to 7.5, inventory of town property.
This was in response to a motion.
So I think that was me. What was the motion? Was it the town owned land or?
Residential. So these are all the residential ones. There's only a few missing that we own that aren't on the map because they're not zoned residential.
There's another motion that's the number of properties we have, that's in here. That's in a different RFD.
I thought this was to represent what we've done, so like we have a map, right? Not that like map of what was available and then what's being sold. I don't think.
This one was, I'll find the motion. Sorry.
That was just my question.
Evelyn?
And actually, not so much, I had the opposite impression, not so much the ones that we have done, but the ones that we still have outstanding, such as the one on 855, we have woods. I keep hearing about this property, in fact, it's even been before us because there was some interest in that property, so.
Which one? What was that?
I know.
855.
855
Where's Ruben?
yeah.
The double lot?
No. Down, yeah.
Oh, way down here.
Zoom in,
That's.
zoom in.
So that's the one that I'm talking
Yeah, it's not on here.
about. And
Yeah.
then,
Sorry, I missed that. whole-
It's all south of Rubenheimer's, where Morans live.
again,
And
small
there's the
town
lot
people
next to
trying
it, south of them. And it's all tree.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, it's on, here's the backup. Yeah, top of it's here.
So that would be on this, I'm thinking. 3512 or 3404.
Might have been a workshop discussion response, not a motion.
It might, I
Yeah.
I thought it was just to keep tabs of what we've
Yeah.
been doing and the progress we've been making.
Because there was one on the number of dwellings
That's
in the
another
town,
one.
and then there's one on the empty lots available.
Mhm.
Like town-owned lot. This was the town-owned lots, but I don't think it was a motion, I think it was a workshop discussion.
Evelyn?
Yeah, it has respectfully, and maybe this is where the confusion is coming because it came out of a workshop, but that's what, in a way, I was expecting, as well as there's also, because we did a tour of property, so I already have a list of, from several years ago when we were new council, and we saw what land we owned. And I've also heard anecdotally, like where previous county councilors have said, we own land in the county and there's different things that we can do with that land. So that's what I was curious about. Now that we've got these two sections done, what do we have left to work with?
Yeah, I can add the non-residential ones with that as well, because there's a few that we own. So the property that we just got, 911, yeah, that one, and then there's one that is north of the museum that we
I was
also
gonna ask about that.
That's, yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you were gonna, okay. So should we rephrase ones that we can turn residential? Is that
Just
what,
all-
we just want all owned?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can update the map to show off.
But we do motion,
Yeah.
and then,
Okay.
right, because then we have clear direction, and then it's, right, it's tracked better than workshop responses, right?
So may I, before the motion, so then we don't, are you suggesting that would include also the drop-in center, those buildings as well, or just
All,
town assets? Like,
all,
Oh, you want town, okay, all town assets, okay, so yeah, so all, that, why don't you word it that way, that administration bring back a list of all town-owned assets? Say the map, right?
Buildings,
All one color though.
That would be.
Does that work?
the full ones, yeah.
Yeah, so then it's everything we own,
okay, I'll move that.
The old one. Mary Ann just did one.
Okay, I'll move that. Administration bring back a list of all town assets with the map. Like presented on page 62. Or
All in favor? Opposed?
I just have a question.
Carried.
So on
Conversation
page
back.
62. On the map. Up on the top there where the complex is. Okay, everybody with me?
Mhm.
Across from the new school.
Mhm.
North to the Highway 28, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different lots.
Weird, yeah.
And then across this, there's a road allowance there for that loop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And is that goes across the ferry? Beside the ferry behind the complex?
yeah, it's talking about, yeah, this road here, I think, yeah, it's a road,
I didn't,
It's a trail, not a road.
it was gonna be road levels.
road
That's
on here.
road there.
I know there's no,
Yeah.
yeah,
People drive there.
but, yeah,
I'm not looking where, what color is it?
just beside,
It,
it's a red,
it ends.
yeah, at
and
the
it's
museum.
trail. Yeah. But it's all gravel. and
Adjacent
stuff.
to the,
Yes,
yeah,
there
it is
is,
adjacent to.
It's like.
yeah,
Okay.
but it doesn't go all the way to Stahlgren. It goes into the parking lot of the Ag Society.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't seem like it's a road.
Mhm.
Bypasses the RV.
7.6, town council.
No, we need a motion to accept 7.5.
I'll make that motion.
Accept 7.5.
Oh, right. That Town of Smoky Lake accept for information the written report provided by administration regarding the inventory of town-owned residential lots as of December 31st, 2023, and as of January 1st to August 6th, 2024.
All in favor? Oh, I thought that was the other one. Okay. 7.6, Town Council Workshop, August 13th, 2024.
I think admin,
No, sorry, what I meant was to pull it out of the.
oh, I see what you mean,
agenda.
okay, I think admin probably saw your email
Well, I'm
and
assuming someone has another thought or is not in favor of it, so I wanted to
I see what you mean.
have them speak, otherwise I'll make the recommendation.
So it would, if I can speak to that, I added that. So I've already kind of planned my week and it would be hard for me to change.
I would like to stay with the schedule the way that it is.
Well, I'll put the recommendation that's here, and then whoever's in favor, can be in favor, and who isn't, then we'll read. The next one. That the town of Smoky Lake reschedule the August 13th, 2024 town council workshop to August 29th, 2024 at 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. at the town council chambers in Smoky Lake for the purpose of the town signage and wayfinding sign branding. All in favor? Any opposed? And so that failed. All right, making the motion or can.
Don't need another one actually, unless you.
Oh,
want to make
no,
any
this is
changes.
David?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ow.
we're not rescheduling.
I didn't know. Putting up that.
No, it's
All right, committee of the whole meeting, preliminary budget.
Can I just make a comment about the budget one? Committee of the whole, we talked about it last meeting, but the budget one. So it's up to council. Often committee of the whole is where you would start with your budget discussions instead of a budget meeting, instead of a council meeting. Or you could start as a very informal, start with a workshop, then go to committee of the whole, and then eventually make motions at council. So it's really up to you. I just thought I want to start working on budget. If we're going to approve it again this fall, or this winter, I should say. So whether you want workshop or committee of the whole is up to you, or a real meeting.
Go ahead. So, so what I was gonna add to that, in a way, we did that last year, we called it a workshop, whereas this year you're gonna call it a committee of the whole.
Well, depends what you want. Workshop is close to the public, casual conversations that then would go back to either a committee of the whole or council. Or you have a committee of the whole, which is open to the public, but we've said not live streamed. So open to the public, full agenda is still created, motions, but all motions go to council for.
Sure. And
Whereas
that's,
the workshop, there's no motions, it's just everything goes to the next meeting to bring forward. It would be workshop is very informal, like tomorrow's workshop is informal direction, nothing will be done until an actual, yeah. So it's up to you on the first step.
so when I see this, I see that we need to schedule 2 committee of the wholes, and one for the original for all, like one that's focused on policy and bylaws, and then one that's focused on budget.
You could actually have the same one, but it might be a lot in one
It would
day.
be a long day,
Yeah.
no.
So
I would not.
if you want to go committee of the whole, then you could do 2 meetings, yeah.
And also just a reminder that Monday, September 9th, we do have a council meeting scheduled for that day, but it's actually the Northeast meeting for Pride, which is why I moved you into
Can we not, like, I don't have an issue with committee of the whole, but essentially it's a council meeting, but you can't make motions, you then send it to a council meeting? Can't we just have a council meeting? I just don't understand, like, I just need a little bit of help on the details of what is the benefit of, is it because the informalness of the committee of the whole, like, what is the benefit versus just having a scheduled, advertised, public is aware council meeting? What's the difference?
All the agenda package and everything.
No, but you're calling it a council meeting for the purpose of budget.
You're basically shortening a council meeting by taking the discussions out of it. So you've made the decisions at the committee of the whole, then you just go to council, you just make an actual motion. So it just shortens, it adds another meeting. So either you,
Yeah.
so you have 2 meetings, so you have discussion here and then decisions here, or you have this meeting that's say twice as long because you have all the discussion.
And your regular meeting, thank you.
And
Yes, okay, thank you. I just needed to wrap my head around that.
It's also because that's what happened with our last meetings, that suddenly we came in and we had from this time to this time to suddenly go through all of these, there was no way that we could do that without giving up your entire weekend. Whereas this way, when you see a meeting coming up or whatever, you're focused on all the policies, you're not doing it in between everything else. So you can get it done so that the next time it's on it, we basically have already discussed it. So unless somebody suddenly changes their mind from the last committee of the whole and wants to talk about it, otherwise you can just go boom, boom, boom and pass. So that's what it's.
Okay.
And I do like the idea of the budget, because in a way, that's what that workshop was. So I.
This
like
way,
the
it's just
idea.
more transparent because it's open to
Yes,
the
yeah,
public.
and I like that
Yeah.
idea. So it's
The
just a
budget
matter.
should be open, right?
We're already talking about budget, I thought. Life is going by way too quickly.
Terry?
We're in discussion, right?
And we did try to give various options of what I anticipated was availability,
Yeah, like,
knowing.
I'm just thinking,
schedules.
if we have it before a regular council meeting, we start at 9 AM. That's too long a day. Like, you're up at 7:30 and then you're not back till, could be 7:30, 12 hours away. It's just too long for me. I would recommend, or I would prefer something different.
So we decided to work as much around the schedules as I know them. It's challenging. So I tried to give some dates, knowing that, knowing the availability.
How is the option 3 for you guys?
I have one question. I'm still not clear. So are we looking to book two meetings?
Correct.
Okay, so not just one condensed. Is there any opportunity to have those two meetings on the same?
I did mention that we could do one you don't need 2 meetings, you just have 1 meeting. But it would be a long meeting, it would be policy, you could do it, you could do a full day meeting or anticipate a full day, say 2-3 hours in the morning to discuss policies, and then probably only need a couple hours to start the discussions of budget, but it would be 1 meeting. It's just different agenda items. It's a formal meeting still. So you can have anything you want.
Committee of the whole.
Yes, yeah. So you could do it in 1 day if you guys wanted. I'd say 5 hours if you wanted to cover all that. So it'd be like the length of a council meeting.
Okay, so disregard the motion or the
you-
recommendation for 2 motions.
If you want it, it depends. If you want to do it as one longer meeting, then 1 motion, pick a date, and then we'll do it then. Or if you'd rather just deal with policies 1 day and then come back fresh and just deal with budget. Again, at this point, we're also looking for high-end budget input, right? It's not, we don't go line, right? So it's up to you.
Well, I think the policies will be longer than the initial first budget, right? It's not the very first one is, putting input and then it all comes back. So I think potentially we could do it all in one if it wasn't on the same day as a council meeting. So like, that's what I was saying, like, I don't know what everybody's schedule is, but the option 3, September 19th.
3 PM, 3:30, so
Mhm.
that puts us into the late night.
Yeah, but we have to accommodate people. So either you guys push it in one, like have it with one of them, each on the Mondays and have a couple hours before our meetings. Or
Well,
we're doing it.
what I was just gonna say is, why can't we do a Monday, like the 16th?
Because I work.
Oh,
Every day that we have council meetings is my day off. So that's.
And I'd selected the Thursdays because these Thursdays are the Thursday before Monday she's off, so I know she's off that day, but then I put 3:30 because I know Mel's not off, right? So I know that the other 3, and I know you work a lot, right? So I know their schedules are set, so I know their availability. So I just threw out those dates based on what I know of their schedules.
I'll just
Right.
mention
Yeah.
that by having a 3:30 meeting, it screws me up for 2 days, not 1 day, and so I'm taking 2 days off,
Yeah,
I understand, yeah.
and nobody's taking no days off.
and you can propose something totally outside of this.
That's why I
Just say,
said the Mondays, because Mel's off on that Monday.
And that's what I need to, and then thank you for making us aware of that, because now that we know that, then we're not gonna have 3:30 meetings.
No,
We could, if one of those days works to start earlier, I can, like, we can set it and
Yeah,
I can,
19th at 1.
yeah, like I can look at asking for some time off. I did, like, I can't do it all the time, but I
Yeah.
can do it once in a while. So the 19th, of just. No, I'm back. 19th,
But you-
19th works, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean, because if
I
we start at
understand.
3:30.
Yeah.
And we got a 5-hour meeting and I gotta be at Wabasca at 7 in the morning,
I work at 7, so I.
but you don't have to drive 4 hours.
No, no, and I'm not comparing.
Yeah.
It's just as important. I'm not saying it's not. That's what I'm saying. We can always set it and I will ask, like, I'll
Yeah,
ask.
the
It's in the future and far enough that I could potentially ask for some time, so.
Yeah, 1 would work for me. On a Thursday afternoon.
I can do the 19th.
I'll ask for it, sure. Are you proposing for both?
I would say we do one, so is it time?
Sorry, is it August 19th or September 19th?
September.
Because there's 1 and 2.
I better not be so
So-
August, please.
You have
I
August
do have
19th.
that. I did not like that
September
option,
19th.
but I was thinking for the policy one, I could make that one work, because the policies are done. Budget, I'm not ready for.
Was the one I was. I can make a motion if everybody is comfortable to set, just let me grab my bearings here. The Town of Smoky Lake schedule a committee of the whole meeting on Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 1 o'clock in the town chambers in Smoky Lake for the purpose of preliminary budget and policy review of policies. All in favor?
None opposed, carried. I wanna call a 5-minute break. We'll call the meeting back to order at 2:41. And we will move to the 7.8 Smoky Lake Agricultural Society funding agreement.
So the question came as to whether or not we had a formal agreement in place. We've never, sorry, there was one in place when we took it over 1 year and operations for 1 year, and then I don't remember what year that was, but there's never been anything with regards to our contributions. There's been motions made over the years. I did follow up with the county and asked if they knew of any agreement, and she said, it was Lydia I spoke with, and she said, no, it's the same thing, it was motions. So if you want us to enter into a formal agreement, I do have that as an option.
So, Marianne?
I had it on the consent agenda, just a couple things, and so right at the top, or sorry, right at the bottom of page 68, I doubt that last motion was February 20th, 2024 with Mayor Hank Colloy.
Probably not.
Okay. So, yeah,
Sorry.
and then some things that I just as noted, so 60,000 is from the county, is that a requisition or do is it a grant or does it matter?
They have a motion to contribute 60,000 to the Ag Society, just like we have, so it's set up the same way.
So, and yeah, last meeting you did indicate that it was an annual motion, but I can see.
Well, it
that-
wasn't an annual motion, it's an annual contribution, but the last time we made the motion was not in 2024. 2018, I believe. Because it's pay the electrical bill effective 2018, so I'm gonna say it should have been 2018. February 28th. So, and then the one before that was 16 and the one that before that was 14, but it's annual contribution, it just. It hasn't been made annually, so you're right, it should be, to me, it should be a formalized agreement.
So I'll just wrap up what I wanted to say. I think that I'd love to hear from the Ag Society as a delegation. I feel there's a real need in the community as maybe it's more competitive, maybe they need more money. There's the rentals at the National Hall, the curling rink, Maiden Crossing. How can we best support them? Before we task our admin to get an agreement together, I would ask for the support of council to ask them to come as a delegation. Let's hear what the needs are. This is 10 years ago, the first motion that came to pass for the monthly, the money. So I think it's time to touch base with them. They might be looking at something different at this time.
No?
Yeah, I agree. The reason these motions were made is when they asked for more money. So February 2016, when Councillor Kodalak, that the funding for the Smoky Lake agriculture remained at that. That's why a motion was made. It's approved in our budget, so that's where it's a budget line. So it is made by motion, but it's in the budget. But I think it's a nice idea to have them come. There's a meeting this evening. So
That's just my thoughts, and I think, if I may, Mayor Commission, with the financial contribution, I believe we should have some sort of terms of reference or something, a bylaw or a policy that, or an agreement, but that we're doing this, right?
What I understand, the last time they asked for more funding, the response was that we would pay the electrical bill at the RV park to allow them to get more revenues and then do the stone removal. And they chose not to increase the contribution, and that's the last time they asked. So that would have been 2018. So that's been, yes, 6 years since then, so.
So are we paying the electrical bill for the RV park annually, or we just paid it for that year?
No, it was to do it annually. It
Because
was
here it doesn't state annually.
effective that date. So as of that date, we were to start taking over the electrical bill. So what I understood is it was
Do we
to
know that
put more
cost?
money in there.
We know that cost.
We'd have to look it up.
we can ask the Ag Society to provide that. Because
We provide the revenues from the thing.
Well,
what you're saying.
well, no, we have their financials and everything, but like if Marianne wants to invite them to come, then we can have those discussions of history, what happened, what's getting paid by who, how things look, whatever, right? An update on everything. I'm sure they know all of that, so.
So when the motion was made on July 22nd, they requested after we told them what the motion was, what the cost of that was going to be.
Yeah, I apologize to Sharon that I kind of felt like I blindsided her with this a little bit, and actually to Mel on the board and whatnot. Who was the other member on the board? Amy, sorry, our alternate. As I explained to her, is that it was more around like providing more to the municipality, that we would partner with them. And so I felt like they definitely took it a little defensively, and I apologize that wasn't my intention, that we definitely support recreation, me of all people. I definitely want to support recreation. It was more around how do we make our community events better, and if we were to partner with them with the, so when she did come back, we got her this information on the actual costs for the crack filling, line painting annually, and grass cutting. But I also did have that chat, so I'm hoping the conversation's positive this evening, that that wasn't the intention. And I also to recognize that it sounds like they did also give us a discount on fees, and I didn't realize that at the time for Family Day and Canada Day, that they actually do give us a reduced rate. So I did feel a little bad about that, and I did apologize and explain where I was coming from on that. Yeah.
Evelyn, so you're going to the meeting tonight? Oh, no, this is just the conversation that you're, okay. All right. I'm gonna say that actually, I really like that idea, simply because I feel very blind sitting here when it talks about when, like, again, I remember sitting here and not even speaking proper sentences when I was trying to understand the whole rec fee and being charged on taxes, and it used to be on taxes, and now it's no longer in taxes because we do it in a different way, whatever have you. So actually, I really would like to have a conversation and understand exactly how we tax for people, how, what it is, go to this, but also with the fee, because it's been very consistent since 2014. So this is why. Sorry. Why?
It's okay, you go ahead and say it first.
It's not a rec fee, like.
Yeah. See what I mean?
This is
So there
where
you go.
confusion, yeah.
There we go, see, there we go, proof. So this is why I do want to have this discussion, plus I know just anecdotally that we run the Ag Society in a very different way than what other communities do. We're one of the last that are solely with a lot of volunteers. So, yeah, I would,
We don't work.
I know, that's why.
The way the ex-cities run.
I'm just gonna say, see?
Maybe a little confused because it's budgeted under recreation. It is, so that's where the confusion might come. It's to the Ag Society, but on our budget, it's recreation. So that's where you might be a little confused that. See, because we create confusion internally as well.
No.
It's also nice to have them here, because there's a lot of history, you know, and I don't, like, I know some, but I don't know all of it, but I do know one thing. That last motion in July did not go over well, because it was that previous motion where that before I was on council, the Ag Society, I was informed, did ask for some more funding. And the town and the county did step up and give them more funding, but the
To
town.
the 60,000.
Yes, up to the 60,000, whereas the town did not, because they said they would do in kind work, but this is all history that I don't know about, like all of it.
The one on the 15th in 2016,
No, 22nd.
2020.
the second,
July, I made to.
it's the one that didn't go over well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard when it's not that's why Dawn phoned, because sometimes when it's not a communication, you just get like an email or something, right? It doesn't go. Yeah, it gets, you take it how you want to take it, right? So I did want to say that, and that was a little history that I got feedback after. I didn't know that because I wasn't on council at the time where they had asked for different funding, and the conversation went, we'll do in kind work. The county stepped up, did give more funding, but the town had at that time said that. So it's all history. It's not, there's no motions, no documentation. It's what it is. So it is the feedback that I received.
The questions I have is this perception that the town and the county should be equal, when a lot of the events and a lot of the usage isn't equal. So that's where,
And I don't think the perception is that it should be equal.
well,
But I think the perception is it felt a little bit like. What's the real cost of painting the lines, right? It felt like that, like they don't expect it to be equal. And the county also does do work in kind for the Ag Society as well. So those are answers and things that if we have a delegation that can be brought up, I think it's a brilliant idea.
that's the thing, like, when we go in for snow removal and we get a big dump and they're gonna have, say, a funeral or something there, we try to accommodate them and put them ahead of
You mean
others.
the community's gonna have a funeral. The community is.
But it might be a outside resident from the town.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? We are almost in a way contributing equal with what the county is when you take in all the in lieu stuff. And that's where my thing came from, and when I made this motion for Family Day and Canada Day, that includes everybody in the region. So that's where I came.
We need to.
I move to request a delegation be sent from the Smoky Lake Agricultural Society to a future meeting of council at a regular council meeting.
All in favor? And opposed, so carried. 7 points.
So what about the current recommendation then? Like, so Mary Ann just made that motion, but what about this? Do we need now, because we just had a motion earlier where. And I was actually with Amy on that one where you said, oh no, you have to now pack. She thought that, and I was under the same impression, so now do
We would wait to do this one till after.
So I
next
think
week.
We have to.
You don't have to do anything, no.
Cause I think the other one had information on it, like that.
Well, no,
like
that's the
as-
one that
the dwell-
rescheduling the,
No, she's talking about the one I missed, 7.5, where the dwellings had he had documented all of it. Is that why
You're
we
accepting the
accepted
information that was presented. And then made a further motion to bring back more information, I think is why, or is this one?
This one, we don't need to do anything.
I don't think you need to do anything. Yeah, we'll bring it back after.
So we don't even need to say defer or anything.
No, because I think the next action, what do you think? I think because the next action is them coming, then we follow up with that, so, yeah.
Oh.
Unless you'd like to have it on record to bring it back after delegation, but I think.
I was
it's fine.
confused between the two, because it happened when Amy expressed confusion, I was like, I'm with you, I don't know where we're going, okay.
7.9, Iron Horse Trail staging area design. Terry?
I could move for discussion that the town of Smoky Lake defer the contribution for the design phase of the Iron Horse staging area in Smoky Lake in the amount of 15,000, town's 50% portion to the 2025 budget discussions for consideration.
Mel?
So I guess, I just needed a little background information. So each community is paying for, design? Or is this just the Smoky Lake?
So we are paying, like, it's because we are, we were identified by Travel Alberta as one of the 5 key areas for the Iron Horse Trail. So they want to see a design for a staging area for those towns, and we made a motion about that. What's the previous motion? Is it added to this? Because we discussed this before.
Yes, there's in the background that we made a motion
Yeah.
on November 27th, 2023
Yeah,
to
there it is.
begin funding. So,
So we were pursuing a grant
Yeah.
to do
That
this,
we did not get.
a grant that we did not get.
so then this one came up and, but we have to pay 50%. But it's a quick turnover on the grant, which is why I'm bringing it in. So that we can, it's one that would have to be completed this year, so we need to move quickly, so that's why I'm bringing it now.
So that's an answer to it. So we were, when we were gonna have the grant, it was good, but now we're being asked instead for 15,000 out of unrestricted reserves. So I'm gonna continue following on because the idea is actually when we do come up with a design, they do want to use the same design all along the trail. It's not like every individual community is going to come up with it. So I like the idea when we were going to get a grant. I'm not a fan of the unrestricted reserves.
Mel?
That's why I made the motion.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be, sorry,
You have a new name.
that's why I did it, sorry. I apologize, Madam Chair.
He's just enthusiastic.
I was being funny, I wasn't.
If now finding that out, why doesn't Municorp put in the 15,000? Because it's gonna be used all around for every other person. And, or every municipality put in 3,000 and divided by 5.
Sorry, the information I got from Marianne Jenke was actually that we were one of several and this was, they want them all to be this, designed by the same people, but everyone would actually do their own. So I got different information, I guess, from Marianne. She gave me the list of the cost of all of them and it was 200 and some thousand, and our portion for ours, it would be 30. So what she said is they'd actually do different designs for each. But I think the overall was all together, but of a much bigger cost. So this is just.
So I'm like now, yeah, I'm in favor of your motion, mostly because we're gonna pay that much money for a design. And that's a lot, and I get it, they want them all to look the same, but you're asking a lot of each place to put out that much money for a design to coordinate, when we can do a lot in our staging area with $15,000 to actually go to the project. And I would like, I'm not saying we should do it separately, I'm just saying, is that the best use of it without a grant? If it was with the grant, I could see it, but without it, that's a tough one, but we should discuss it.
This is with the grant, this would be 50% of the grant. The total cost is 30.
Right.
So our contribution would be 15, and then the idea being the implementation phase, that there is both provincial and federal funding. And working with Municorp, the hope is that a lot of the cost, if not all, could potentially fund it with grants of the actual implementation.
So one more question, if you defer it to the budget, does that mean it's too late?
Lose this grant.
Okay,
From what I understood is they actually reopened this grant for her to apply for us. Because they had a little bit of funding left and it needs, from what I understand, it needs to be used by the end of the year. So it would be moving forward very quickly.
Terry?
So this is not just a Smoky Lake thing. This is a whole regional thing for all the municipalities on the Iron Horse Trail. Where is our,
This design is just for Smoky Lake.
that's, I know,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
but the plan is for everything. So if we say no to our 50% of that, are they still going ahead with the other ones?
I don't know.
And the next question is our regional partner, are they putting anything in?
The only, I mean, I understand the costs and that is not, it's substantial, but I feel like this is kind of a start of bringing in people with, because we have signage of our staging, not that we can't have that anyway, but it would, isn't there an inclusion of like bathrooms eventually done and covering and like, I just feel it's centralizing, like it's getting people into our town again.
The design is for better access, signage, all season bathrooms, indoor storage where people can lock up their quads or snowmobiles and go downtown. Yeah.
Where's this information? How would I ever make a decision on $15,000 when nobody is?
Well, it's just the design though.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, like, if they have an idea of what they want, like, I would expect them to have
Plan,
a plan for us
the plan.
or something. Like, I get it's for the design phase, I totally understand that. But like, even a broad idea, like, you probably know because you're a part of it, but like, to come to council and ask for $15,000 for Faith, it's hard
And
to
that's-
swallow, but I do agree that we need something down there. We do need to make a plan.
And that's my error, because I was speaking with her previously, when we brought it forward last time, and I guess maybe that's what I was relying on, is we did talk briefly, but that was back in November of last year. And so that's the idea is, yeah, right now people think Pumpkin Park is our staging area, so this would be a road, signage, I think we talked about lighting, the washroom, the storage area, maybe even some seating, that kind of thing is, so they'll come up with a design for the area, and then the idea being the next staging area will be similar to ours, right? So they're all kind of branded similarly.
It's really tired over there. We have businesses that no longer exist that are listed there. We are, says along the highway that we are the western gateway to the Iron Horse Trail. So I recognize why we push back against Northeast Unicor, but instead, actually, I really would like to work collaboratively with them, because I sit on DMO and I sit on the town of Smoky Lake, and all I hear about all the time is how we are the ones that are leading the way when it comes to tourism, that we are the ones, especially with the Smoky Lake Tourism Company and tourism and in this area. And I actually see this as a very good, I'm not a fan of the coming out of our unrestricted reserves, but I do see this as, yeah, this is a way of attracting business to the downtown. There is a conceptual design working like with where you park your ATVs, where you can park it like a mini garage and put your money in, and it keeps people here overnight, which we currently don't have. We compete against St. Paul for that, because they go to St. Paul because they've got all of the camping area. Mimi just mentioned public washrooms, that would be part of the design as well too, that actually right over there, which I am really excited about having something like this. So I understand the pushback. I do, because I don't think we have enough information for this, but I really want to start working. We have so many, I feel like there's too many people or too many groups that are not talking to each other right now about this. DMO, Northeast Unicor, Smoky Lake Tourism,
Travel Alberta, right?
Travel Alberta, Town of Smoky Lake.
Mel?
Okay, well, I'm a big fan of it. I am a big fan. I just honestly, the reason I am pushing back, and I won't support your motion, I will go with the recommendation. But the reason I am is because that information, I would have liked to have seen, like, if they are planning something and they, like, why secret? Why, like, I would have liked to.
Discuss this now.
No, not the discussion, but like this concept thing, that's nice to have like what I'm just still a little lost. It's not all in, here. There's not a lot in here to go by, right? So, but I do want to see, you know, I support the trail. I want something right there. When you ride down the trail to all the little communities, it'd be so nice to stop in Sveden and have a barbecue and, you know, so I do support it. I just a little bit more.
Marianne?
Yeah, I do support the motion that's on the floor, but now with the further discussion to this, in the background information, so the grant initially applied for was not successful. Can we see what was applied for, or is it that part of the secret?
It actually wasn't suitable. Sorry, it wasn't applied for, because the one I wanted to apply for, they decided was not suitable for that one, he was watching for other grants.
But it says that Alberta Council applied. So can we not see what he designed or applied for?
Am I wrong? Where did it say that, sorry?
Because the grant that was being pursued
Was deemed not
suitable for this.
So we didn't apply.
Hmm.
So there's no secret, we didn't apply. But then, that's why, like I said, my recent conversations have been around, I need to see more, because you said this one wasn't suitable, you'd find another one, but we haven't found another one yet, so.
Carrie?
And sorry, with this one, we would have probably come back for more funding. So the motion was there to apply for the grant. We just didn't know what our contribution would be at that
My biggest concern and one of the reasons is that right here, it says, once the design is completed, there's both federal and provincial grants that may be available. It's not saying that are available. So now we spend $15,000 in the design. Then they come up with something, then a request for $50,000 for the building. Now there's a request for $25,000 for the addition to the building. Where does it? You know, once you invest the 15,000, is it? Who's gonna take over the fundraising, you could say, for this? I haven't heard anything from our trail twisters or anything that spend a lot of money on the trail coming to the table or being asked to put some money into this that gets a lot of grant funding too. You know, we have the Kinsmen that spent how much money on our gazebo, which we could somehow tie into the snowmobile or the Iron Horse Trail. And that's available to the public too. You know, we're using more of our assets that are there without having to spend another, because can you build a staging area, washrooms, storage and all that for 200,000? I don't think so. That's what I mean. So where's the next funding gonna come from? Is my question.
Evelyn?
So one of the challenges with this is we have to have project ready, shovel-ready projects in order to apply for all of these grants. So that, and I mean, this is where because I, it's not that I don't hear you, because I do, but I do believe this is where we have to start investing in ourselves and investing a bit of money, because we do see grants go by us, and then it's like, oh, wouldn't that be a great grant to apply for? But we don't have the shovel-ready project, so that's where some of the initial investment has to come in. It's not gonna stop at 50,000, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's,
agree with you, but
yes,
there are grant, and you know, you say may, that's because
it is.
it isn't because Mary Ann Jakey can, or even Dawn, or even Alberta Council can say, well, this is exactly what we're gonna like, and map it out for the next 5 years, because that's the way the grant, because grants change. But that is where, we have to be shovel ready, and this is gonna contribute to that, so, and I really do want that project here, and I really would like to, and that's personal, I just really would like the town of Smoky Lake to be the first one
Well,
to
that's
get
not
this.
personal.
No, no,
It's
like,
good
I
for
mean-
the whole community as.
I'm just saying,
for the-
that's my
Yeah.
passion for projects, so.
Okay, well,
You put a motion on the table.
yeah, there's a motion on the table and I think there's discussion.
So can you please remind me which one that was to defer?
Option.
To go to the budget.
So I'll call the question on the recommendation, not the recommendation, so the option that was put on as a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so that failed.
Go ahead, make your motion.
Just say since you opposed your own motion. why
It
did you
wasn't
go-
my motion, it was something for discussion, and
No,
that's,
you're right.
after the
That's what we
discussion,
were-
my mind was
Yeah.
changed.
Okay.
Because now, like we said,
Yeah.
it's a bigger picture than just a design for a hut in Smoky Lake. It's a design for the entire Iron Horse Trail that will be there for years to establish grants in the future.
All right, Edwin.
That Town of Smoky Lake contribute monetary funds to support Northeast Municore with the design phase of the Iron Horse Trail staging area project in the amount of $15,000, that's 50% of total funding, and acknowledge Mary Ann Jenke, Executive Director for Alberta's Iron Horse Trail, will submit the application to the Trans-Canada Trail Grant to be funded from unrestricted reserves.
Addition to the motion. If you-
Okay. Friendly amendment, go for it.
That we contribute the 15,000 as a 50% matching to the approved grant. Like, we won't fund them the 15,000 until we get the grant. If they get the grant, we'll match the 15,000. If they don't get the grant, they don't get the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Subject to them.
Dawn?
You had commented that you didn't like unrestricted reserves. You're good, you're okay with that, or was there?
I
a
am,
different
so gosh,
recommendation?
yeah, and it is 15,000, you're not asking for $1 million, but I'm just not a fan of touching reserves.
Agreed.
Or 100,000 for us.
All right, all in favor?
But thanks for clarifying my
None
comment.
opposed, so carried.
Yeah, could I add to that discussion? So, based on the discussion that just occurred, so you mentioned the signs. So do we need a grant to tell Municore to say, if they have outdated information on signs, they should probably replace them, or?
It's up to us to do that.
Yeah.
In a violence.
So, if I may, just what Northeast Municore will do is there's different, like we supply our own signs within our own municipalities. So when it comes to that area, we, like, when I was talking about the outdated maps, that's up to us too.
So rest assured, it's on the workshop tomorrow, right?
We just have an addition to the signage, yeah.
Please do. All right, we'll move on to 8.1, so residential dwellings report.
Is there a response to a request from council?
Okay.
So. Mel had a, or were you?
I was just gonna make a motion, then have the discussion. But that's
Okay, go ahead, make the
I'll make a
motion.
motion on Town of Smoky Lake, except for information that a number of resident dwellings in Smoky Lake have 471 dwellings and 460 dwellings with utilities.
Edwin?
Okay, so thank you for giving us this information. So we have 11 dwellings without utilities?
Yes.
Is how it goes. So so that means that we have 11 dwellings that are unlivable, like they're considered residential, if you could explain this to me a little bit, because we've been in this position before, we disconnect or we don't disconnect, so I have one next door to me, so, and then, because again, we're talking about housing, and then what about empty, because I brought this up before about the vacant tax and the empty houses tax, so I mean, that's 11.
This is actual dwellings though, so this wouldn't be the empty lots, right? This is the unserviced home. Is it homes though? Dwellings is houses. Yeah, so these ones have actual properties on them, but some, whether they're vacant or lived in without utilities. We know there's at least one lived in without utilities. So
Lived in without utility, okay.
I think, for example, for lack of better words, Warren Preddy's lot for sale has 2 outbuildings, but there's no facilities or running into, there's no services that are on a monthly recurring charge. So there's dwellings, but they're not lived in and they're vacant. And if you don't know where Warren Preddy's lot is, it's in the back of alley of the funeral home, right adjacent to. It's for sale.
and then apparently there's a couple that are in town limits, but acreages. So they have their own septic and water wells.
Oh, so those
Right.
are included in the not.
Yeah, so I was asking for clarification.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Or other
Well,
question?
What, I did ask about like a vacancy, so you don't know which of those, like, because that's actually what other municipalities are doing now, is that in order to get homes lived in to push owners, they're using the empty homes tax or the vacancy tax, so. And that's, so, do you know what I'm talking about or not?
Yeah, well, we have a motion that was on vacant lots, though, not empty homes, I believe. Because empty homes are taxed already, so they're already above that minimum tax typically. But the vacant lots, we have a motion to bring that back for discussion around the budget, I believe.
Yes, because we already we raised taxes up significantly on vacant lots, but we didn't do the full amount of what we were planning to do, so you're bringing it
Well,
back, so
there's
we can.
that, and then there was that other one we talked about. Oh, that was the dilapidated homes. Was the other one we
Yeah.
talked about bringing
Yes.
back. So we have the two that
Okay.
are for
Well, then I'll
budget
just-
considerations,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it there then. So Mel's got made the motions.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
all in favor? Opposed, so carried. 8.2 card reader at the bulk water station.
Yeah, we've had real issues with this. This has been out of commission for. Did read it this morning. Sorry, this is what happens when you go on holidays and get back just in time for a council meeting. 6 months, and we did buy a new one. That was the same as the old one that had been in place, and put it in, and we can't get it to work. But I'm not willing to, we can try to return that one and get a credit, but this one is out of my, like the other one was, I believe, $3,000. Whereas this one is at closer to $9,000. This means people can't use a credit card at the bulk water, but they can still come into the town office and set up an account. So people have been doing that, but obviously there's frustration that they can't just pay there. The bulk water, I mean, it is mainly used probably by our county. We're providing a service. We do make revenues off of, the net revenue is about $29,000 a year, or in 2023. So we're recommending that we defer it. This is acknowledging that we don't have the credit card available at the site, or we can spend the money if you want us to get it working right away.
Mel?
Yeah, I think we need to get it going. I don't think we need to wait till budget time. I think we need to spend the money. I went to a different community to fill up my water. So I went, plugged in the good old loonies and filled her up, and I think maybe we're overthinking it or get some, we've always had an issue with that credit card thing, so maybe make sure we get one that works or it has warranty or something. But I was extremely frustrated when I found out it wasn't working. And I bet you that the town has paid multiple times to have people calling to say, hey, I can't fill up my water. So I would say, don't wait till budget and fix it now. I am a little disappointed that it hasn't been running. I will make a motion once Marianne is done.
You can't pay.
Well,
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment that's already been presented, and that 6 months is a long time to not have that service on the weekends or after hours. And so what is so it was purchased in 2015, what is the expected life, what is the life expectancy of that product?
I don't have that readily available.
So the new one is about, that would be 9 years or so, we got.
The
our
last
money
one lasted about 10 years, I would
Yeah,
guess
so
that,
we-
but
we-
it would be a guess.
We get our money, there was return on the initial investment, so things to consider for the new one is the life expectancy. And I agree with Mel, I would support a motion for the option to do that as soon as possible.
Terry?
I'd be in favor of replacing it as soon as possible and consider upping the charge rate to $8.50 to cover the cost.
No?
we already charge double of what the water is, just so you know. But I don't, you can, if you want to do a separate motion for that, God bless you.
Thank you.
But I,
For the convenience, I'm sure the customer, do you think that it makes a difference to them if they're gonna pay $7.50 or $8.50?
how about we do this? How about I make a motion that the town of Smoky Lake, is that even on here?
Yeah. options, it's an option.
There we go. Town of Smoky Lake, amend the 2024 capital budget to include the replacement of the debit credit card reader at the bulk station located at Public Works Shop, 246 West Railway Drive in Smoky Lake in the amount of now $9,000 to be funded from grants and to bring back the water charge to the budget meeting for review.
Isn't that in our master agreement or whatever it is?
All in favor of the motion? None opposed, so carried.
It comes back anyway.
And if the county is having an issue with this, is there some way of like,
Theirs isn't potable water as well.
Yeah.
no, it's that, I'm talking, they're having a problem with the chart, the same company with the card charge.
We, from what we understood is a lot of people are having issues with that same company.
Because they have, I think they closed down Bellis, but they have Velna, they have Wendare, I'm just wondering if you, I mean, buy in bulk, get four.
No,
I think there's some of theirs were the old coin ones and they got stolen. Yeah, like
I
vandalized.
thought, you mentioned that in the county is having the same problem.
okay. 8.3, virtual attendance of counselors at council meetings.
I spoke with Councilor McRae at the last meeting, just as a formality, because he travels a lot for work. And our procedural bylaw says 4 meetings in a year, so that's from October to October, so just to approve that if he needs to attend due to work obligations, then he's pass that forward, that he can continue to use. If council's okay. As per the procedural bylaw.
I'll make the motion that Town of Smoky Lake Council approve Councillor McAwaychuk to attend council meetings via electronic attendance as needed due to work obligations, even if such attendance exceeds 4 instances within 1 year. This is contingent upon adherence to the appropriate procedures as delineated in, delineated in section 15, meeting through electronic communications by bylaw 008-20 or 2022, council procedural bylaw.
Any other discussion? Concerns? All in favor?
Anyway, I have to notify you guys.
All right, 10.1, mayor and council reports.
Yeah, I wanted to ask questions about the last Smoky Lake Tourism Company meeting that you were at. And the update on that.
We met to discuss the process to hiring or when we'd like to start hiring, not when, but we've just got Bloom put in place to hire a CEO for the SLTC. So we just had to decide when we were starting that process, which is ongoing right now, and we have our 5 candidates pre-interviewed. So not by us, but by Bloom. And so we'll be doing the interviews in the next few weeks, and then hopefully have a candidate by the end of September.
So there's a job posting?
Mhm.
There was a job posting? Okay, is it possible to forward that to us so we can see what the,
Yeah, it was put on our Facebook and web, I don't know what website.
Facebook website, yes, but I can
it
forward
was
it.
put on our Facebook page?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the counties as well.
I don't ever recall seeing that there, but okay.
Marianne?
It's actually on the Alberta Munis webpage as well for job postings.
Again, looking at it.
Okay.
Do you want me to still send it to you?
Yeah, actually, I would. So to follow up on that, so when you're sitting on the Smoky Lake Tourism Company, who's paying for you to sit on that? Is that the MCC?
Well, no, it'll be the tourism company, but yeah, it's essentially the same funds because they'll be transferred into the SLTC.
Okay, so and you're gonna be paid for job interviews?
We haven't decided what we were doing with that yet.
Okay, and you want to tell us about the insurance? What's going on with there's insurance that's needed for the Smoky Lake Tourism Company?
Yeah, we'll need insurance for our directors and for our employees, for sure.
And you're looking into that?
Just filling out the forms now, so. We have insurance already for the MCC, same one, same idea.
Okay, and also summer, you went to the Summer Leaders Caucus in St. Albert? So we've all agreed to, correct? You went to,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's that, when we go to an event, that you fill out the form?
Wait,
you
I'm
learned?
sure I did, actually. It would have been a while ago, though. That was in. May.
You haven't had anything for June or July.
No, I know, because there wasn't a lot going on, so I didn't do a report.
Yeah,
yet.
but
But it was before that.
no,
It was June 14th, but I think I submitted it, or I can resubmit it, so I know I did one.
that's it. That's all I have for questions under that. I don't know if anybody else.
Right, I'll have a motion to accept mayor and council reports.
I'll move to accept.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, we'll move to correspondence requiring action, 11.1. 2023 municipality data results. No?
Oh, sorry, no, not me. I was gonna make the motion and go ahead and then have discussion.
Okay, but let's do what we always say that we want to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead, make the motion.
I know, but
Because
it's
then
your
we
turn,
debate the
I
motion on the table.
jumped you.
That's okay,
Oh.
you make the motion.
I'll make a motion at the town of Smoky Lake, except for information, the 2023 municipal indicators report that indicates that the overall capital assets and infrastructure age is 1.59% below the net book value of tangible capital assets threshold of 40%.
So I just wanted this to just say, is it with we can get out of the red into the green within the next 2 years based on the project that we're working on right now with MPE, correct?
The reservoir will.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't anticipate this being an issue next year. It's just about making sure that we're maintaining our infrastructure, so our roads, our buildings, our equipment's in there as well, that we're maintaining. So we're just slightly, like barely below where we should.
And that's why I'm saying if we should be not take, because it does say we're the viability, we're okay. It's not like it's raised red flags, but I don't see like for 5 years we've had the red, but we can take care of it once this reservoir project is accomplished. So that's what I just wanted to verify. We'll be back in the green again.
Yes, we should be
Okay,
back.
that's
in
all.
green.
That's why.
It'll help.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Sorry,
Oh,
I can defer to Crystal.
yeah.
It'll help, because we're such a small municipality, we keep things longer. Like, we don't have turnaround over with, like, we have like low mileage on our trucks, for example, but they're getting older, right? So it depreciates.
That, the reason we're in the red is because we're doing the depreciation at a certain level that doesn't necessarily mean it's depreciating at that level, they just do it.
Never
It's the
thought
way the accounting works.
So it's a little bit unfair for the accounting for
Yes.
that as well too. Okay.
It's gonna be the same thing we're gonna be discussing in closed session.
Oh, okay.
All in
Oh, in
favor?
that case.
None opposed, so carried. We'll move to 11.3, Federation Gas 2024 Annual Convention and Trade Fair.
What page is that?
88.
Last year, I think you approved this.
It's freezing.
Zero freezing?
Yes, but no, I have it set to 22. Do you want a cold cooler? That's okay, I'll be fine. Last year, we filed this for information, I think, or we approved it. But no one went last year, so.
Evelyn? Because I would like to change the motion to just file it for information. Yeah. Okay, so the town of Smoky Lake, filed for information, the Federation Gas 2024 Annual Convention and Trade Fair held on November 25th, 2024 at the River Cree Resort and Casino in Enoch, Alberta. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. As a council approved event, and those who wish to attend notify administration before the early bird deadline of September 20th, 2024.
All in favor? Sorry.
Did you file for information?
Yeah.
I defer, I filed information.
Yeah, but then you said to notify.
But then you said to
Well,
notify.
It's
Sorry, option number 1.
Okay, you know why? Because I read the recommendation and changed the, it was me. I read the topic, so stop
Stop
it,
it,
you know, Enoch, Alberta.
There
And
you
next time Terry can elbow me.
Okay, all in favor? None opposed?
So question, Mary. We're gonna send somebody to the trade show though.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes,
good.
I've got,
Yep,
yeah.
thank you.
11.4. Smoky Lake Pumpkin Growers Association sponsorship request.
no,
No,
Just before we get going, I had clarification, just that this does, can you directly make motions about pumpkin growers?
oh, yes, yes, I did, sorry, I was trying to remember what you
Oh.
asked me.
Just because Caitlin's on there, I just want to make sure we're all in good.
Technically, and it's your call, but technically, family includes children, so that would be pecuniary, so if you feel that it impacts her financially, then you need to decide if it's pecuniary interest for you or not,
She's an adult child.
but it still is.
But the
And
thing
please.
is, I guess the amount doesn't matter.
It's, again, it's always your call on whether it's pecuniary, and then your council can challenge that, of course. But if it can personally affect her financially, then you do,
Well, because she gets paid an honorarium.
right? Yeah.
So yeah, I can speak myself is very good.
Sorry.
I had to refresh my memory on what you were
I should
talking
be
about.
clear.
It doesn't, yeah, it just has, so it has nothing to do, they don't live in the same.
Doesn't matter, the MBA says pecuniary is, includes daughters, children.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm the one that put it out here, and I do wanna approve it. But I actually wanna say, can we just make this an annual thing and then it doesn't keep coming before us, like this is.
That we annually,
Yeah, because I
Sponsor
don't
as
think it
platinum.
should, I don't think it should come before us every single year until such time that they say, hey, can you give us more money?
Just
Then it
that
comes before us, but otherwise,
They did this time.
is this not the same
It's
amount?
$500 more than last year.
Yeah.
and then I have the second motion set up so that you just approve annually that we do the in-kind rather than bring it back. We found out, we
Yeah.
detailed the amount or the, about how much it was last year.
If I misread it, because I don't want it to keep coming back, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
can
used
we
to
do it?
contribute 2,000, and then they had the platinum sponsorship, which was 1,000, so we dropped it to 1,000, and now the platinum sponsorship's 1,500. So it's still lower than what we at one point were contributing, just so that part's there, but last year we did, and the year before, I think we did 1,000.
So then do you want us to set like an amount? Because I just don't, I think that we should just automatically do this. This is an event that we're doing annually. And by the way, I'm about to say it for the next item as well too, when it comes to the rodeo, because when I see that exchange, so. This is my preamble to the next one. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I disagree with what you're saying. That's what we're tasked to do. We're council, we make decisions. Hearing from our clubs and agencies once a year, it's not a bad thing. So I would not support a motion to have it just automatically be approved, because for instances like this with an increase and just what's the harm in the time that we're spending?
What? Okay. I just, this is something that we do annually, as is the next event too, so I don't see, and there's a lot of different clubs that come to us for the exact same amount. So I think if it's different, then it comes before us, but otherwise, this is just.
and another way to avoid having to go through it every time is the consent agenda. If you're okay with it, we just don't bring it out of it. That's the beauty of it.
No, I don't want even on the agenda, that's what I'm saying.
I like to see it come, I do like to, I don't think the in-kind work needs to, I like that we have the second motion on, we're always gonna have to help them, we're always gonna do that, so. But for the funding, I like to see it because I like to know, I think, like how. And make those decisions, but I think, especially for the in-kind work, it is something we're always gonna do, but financially. I think we should probably approve them separately, but I'll go ahead and,
Do you want to make separate it then, or?
well, yeah, we'll do both, two separate motions.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that Town Smoky Lake approve the Giant Pumpkin Platinum Sponsorship Package in the amount of $1,500 for the 2024 Great White North Pumpkin Fair and Way Off to be funded from the 2024 operating budget entitled grants to individuals and organizations in reference to the sponsorship request letter received July 26, 2024, and request that the Smoky Lake Pumpkin Growers submit the 2024 financial statements when available.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. And then motion 2.
Move that the town of Smoky Lake assist the Smoky Lake Pumpkin Growers Association with in-kind work on an annual basis as approved by the CA Chief Administrative Officer for the Smoky Lake Pumpkin Way Off and Fair prior to the event held yearly on the first weekend in October.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried.
Okay, now we got to call Terry back.
Okay, we'll move to Smoky Lake Riding Club sponsorship request. I'm having issues.
I think with this one, the sponsorship letters just came out too late and we didn't have an opportunity to bring it to council. They did treat it as though we sponsored and gave us that recognition. Our banner was still up. We didn't receive it in time and we can't give donations according to our donation policy without emotions.
So I'm gonna repeat so Terry can hear what I said about the last one as well. This is something that I'm saying, I don't wanna see it come to us on an annual basis. It's something that we've been doing from its inception. So I think that we should just make it, and similarly, I do believe the county does it that way as well too. It doesn't come before them every single year. It's something that we automatically do for the riding club, for the stampede. So.
Terry?
So when does it not happen if something changes or COVID? Or like, what's the parameters behind that? Should they bring back a policy for it, maybe? Or what do?
Right, so in all fairness, I'm gonna repeat what I said. I believe that that's what we're tasked to do in governance. And it's okay to see financial motions come before us and we decide case by case, and I'm not in favor of having it just a cover motion for annual donations.
And Evelyn, and this is why, when I read about the exchange right there that happened, that the letter, it just by, again, we're forcing them to write us a letter every year to ask for the exact same amount. And then either we didn't have a council meeting in time to do it. And I think that that's a perfect example where it could have been just taken care
It
of.
was received days before the event. I think it just
Yeah.
got missed.
So,
It was just an
and
error,
again,
but it wasn't
why-
big timing on our end. It was.
No,
Yeah.
and I didn't mean to make it sound, but again, it was between meetings and I think it should have just automatic instead of this email exchange that we're reading in the motion. And I think it's a perfect example of, we do this every single year. And I know you just said it was governance. But, okay, we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
All right, who's putting a motion up? Who's gonna hand up? Terry?
I'll move the town of Smoky Lake support the Smoky Lake Riding Club and provide a sponsorship of $300 towards the Smoky Lake Stampede to be funded out of 2024 operating budget without grants to individuals and organizations in reference to the letter from the Smoky Lake Riding Club received July 23rd, 2020.
Those in favor? None opposed, so carried. We'll move to Smoky Lake Foundation correspondence, re Smoky Lake Emergency Department closure and locum coverage.
I added that on because can we actually forward that to the doctor recruitment committee and suggest that they write a similar letter as well?
I think, haven't we written something similar already from the recruitment? Commissioner recruitment? Yeah, I think
This isn't having, like, this has to do with the emergency department closures.
Mhm. Which we've been addressing at the physician and for health professionals committee.
Yeah, we sent money to the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something, this, I think
We
this is
sent
actually,
like 6 that meeting, I think, for different various things, and that was one of them.
So that committee has already sent us the exact same letter at the exact same time.
Exact same one, no, previous.
but it's all about the emergency closures that affect our community.
Can double check.
And if I may, and that's how it found its way to go to the foundation as well, to
Okay.
show that solidarity, the strength in numbers, and then thus the board chair did a similar letter. So it's already previously been done.
Okay, so I'm actually making the mistake of saying bounce it back. Suggest that we bounce back when they're the ones that originally bounced it.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Not really a mistake.
Well, I don't sit on either committee, so I don't know these things. All right, so I'll make the motion that Smoky Lake acknowledge receipt of the carbon copy letter sent to the town from Jared Servant, board chair of the Smoky Lake Foundation, addressed to Honorable Adriana LaGrange, Minister of Health, regarding the emergency department closures and locum coverage at the George McDougall Healthcare Center in Smoky Lake dated June 10th, 2024.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. 11.7, Northern Alberta Growth and Opportunity Membership. So this is some funds that we use for lobbying. So we had used last year's funds for the highway. So lobby the government to get moving on helping on rebuilding some of Highway 28 from Smoky Lake to Cold Lake. And we felt we were successful. We'll see how with time goes, but then now we're working on healthcare, so we haven't had to use any funding yet. But that's where this one is kind of delegated for. And we're not asking, it's an annual, but if we haven't used the funds, we're not going to be asking for more next year or whatever. But it's there for this. And then, what was I gonna say? Oh, in our terms of reference, if we don't use the funding and the committee dissolves, the money will be returned proportionately to the people that contributed. Marianne?
Yeah, so I had it on my consent agenda, and thank you for supplying some of the answers. But I'm not sure, it's not for lobbying. It says that in the recommendation, it's for the membership.
Well, the membership, that's what the fees from the memberships are used for, is
Okay.
lobbying. I guess like there's a couple, but they're very minimal, is accommodation. It's not accommodations. If whoever's hosting, so say Smoky Lake was to host, because it's all of Northeast Alberta, we should host. So we get a fee of $500 for food.
Awesome.
To host the meeting.
To host the meeting. It doesn't cover
What a
most of
great
it.
idea.
That's about it.
So my question then is, and you'd mentioned, so they do have the terms of reference, but so when you say the money, it goes for a membership, like where does the money go?
Town of Vegreville is the titular, so the town of Vegreville, not him, but the mayor of Vegreville is the one who is holding the money.
Kind of like the managing partner.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
So would we get a financial report, or like you said, last year was different than this year?
Yeah, I can supply you with that. Terry?
So how do you feel? How successful are they being?
I feel we're getting heard by our MLAs especially, and then able to take it further up to the ministers that are associated with the issue. With a highway, we had a lot of response with Minister Dreeshen. They're supposed to just start here right away, so we'll see if it actually gets started. I mean, that's hard to say that but their response was good. They were positive, reassuring us. We continue to get updates from them about what they're doing. They'll get here soon, then launch Felix, who works for them, but yeah.
My question or my concern is, are we doubling up on what we're doing already? We go to these conventions and all these summits and we lobby for all this. Are we getting the value for the extra that we're doing?
It's kind of, I feel we get a little bit more up and personal with them, with the lobby group, like they're right in their face on,
So who's actually the lobby group?
the last one was Canadian.
So let's say it's a hired group that
Yeah.
goes to lobby.
Yeah, that's why it's expensive. But, oh, the other thing I was gonna say, working as a group is like the MLAs and the ministers think that's a benefit because we're looking like we're working collaboratively and we're wanting to help. And we're not all about whining, like we want to have solutions prepared. The subcommittee chair, Maureen Miller in St. Paul's for the healthcare has really been able to gather a lot of information from what she's experienced, because she's had a lot of doctors come through and through that process. So she's been very good at putting all of it together. We have kind of a solution-based for the solutions for the ministry, if they're willing to listen. And so she's been presenting that a lot, hoping it works in our favor. It's not a, for sure, but I feel it's beneficial.
Like, if I may, it's just, in my mind, it's duplicating what we're doing at an extra cost.
Mel?
Do you think though, they're duplicating what we're doing when we go see the ministers, you mean? I think if you go as a region altogether, I think you do get more bang for your buck and you get heard. Like, and I think especially with the doctor situation, I think we need to attack it at all sides.
Evelyn?
So we actually had a mayoral candidate that actually had this as one of his platforms, was to actually do this very thing. And just for clarification, Northern Alberta Growth and Opportunity is a rename or a subgroup of the Northeast Mayors.
It's a renaming.
It's a
The
renaming?
Lobbying
Okay.
had told us to name or like label ourselves.
So what was it?
And so that's, I think, where there might be a little bit of confusion with this. Remember when it actually was originally called Northeast Mayors,
And Indigenous
Reeves, and
leaders.
Indigenous leaders. And I do remember it because I forwarded it when I first saw this, sent an email to Amy and Mel and told them how important it was for Amy to attend this. Previous CAO poo-pooed it, so our mayor did not attend for the first 2 meetings, but I did. I actually got in the car and I drove, and on my own dime, and on my own time, I did go to it. And I actually am a big supporter of it because how many other mayor groups are there across Alberta? I sit with them at Small Communities Committee. They call it the Southeast and the Southwest mayors. They just don't. I mean, I really don't agree with you guys changing your name. I think it would have been easier just to call yourselves the Northeast Mayors, but that's neither here nor there. But this is already groups in the South have done the exact same thing. And this is the group that can be given credit for the amount of pressure that's put on the government for Highway 28.
But nothing's been done.
Actually, there has been.
What?
We got a $5 million in the recent budget. No, but because this is for the Northeast region. So the MLAs will listen to this group because all of the mayors and all of the Reeves in the Northeast and as a result, on the recent budget, we got $5 million for the study to be done on Highway 28 with the anticipation that on the following budget, we're going to see Highway 28 actually scheduled for complete overhaul and construction. That's where this group has been successful.
Okay. I think we're still developing it.
It is being dealt with in other areas, I agree, but I think this is just another angle to hit it at. And it's $1,000 bucks, but.
Well, not just that, well, how much is it costing us to have it go?
I always go with the Reeves, so I never pay mileage,
Oh.
175 every 3-4 months.
Oh, it's only every quarter?
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
there's lots happening and go like maybe every other month, like 2 months, but it's not.
It's not a monthly meeting, okay.
A lot of virtual. Mel?
I'll make a motion that Town of Smoky Lake approve the 2024-2025 membership for NAGO in the amount of $1,000 to be funded from the 2024 operating budget entitled Municipal Membership Fees in reference to the email from Mayor Chernigan dated August 6, 2024.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried.
So then, would it be okay if I made a subsequent motion then, just so that we have that for sharing that information, and that might help So I move that the terms of reference and the financials from NAGO will be shared with the rest of council for information at a later date.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried. All right, so we move on to last minute additions.
First one.
No, those are full those.
So the email from,
Scott.
Scott is
was handed out with the question.
correspondence to.
That was on the consent. Okay.
Can I just,
Which one's first?
Yeah.
going back to 12.1. Is it possible to have what we're filing listed in there so that if some people just get an agenda, they know what has been filed?
I thought we're doing.
In the agenda.
Not under 12.1.
The three items.
Yeah, on page 107, it lists.
What do you think about that?
Oh, it doesn't?
Well, I'm looking at this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
So it-
right, it's actually right here.
Yep, that's in the packet, but it's not on
Oh.
the agenda.
It's not possible. The software doesn't do it. This is just a copy of what is on the agenda and then everything is in the agenda pack.
We
Sorry.
can list them all if you want.
Well,
We were, and then we were trying to clean up our agendas actually, so we changed it.
Okay,
So we can.
like, I'm just saying for transparency. What, like, if someone gets the agenda and then they're wondering what was filed, they have to actually go into the package to see it.
Yeah.
Yes. It's available.
Okay, so the ICC meeting is August 29th. And I just want to confirm that we're all on the same page, so when Evelyn and I are making some decisions, everybody is,
So we are going to.
it's the letter with Scott.
It's what?
Yeah.
It was a handout or? No, sorry.
So Smoky Lake County will be renting the fire halls for the three municipalities. That term will be 3 years and each municipality confirm the, just need to confirm an amount that we're gonna be charging them. So they can put it in there. I don't know. I don't know budget slash bylaw, slash whatever. So currently we charge 900 a month. Is this what we were wanting, Terry?
Can we defer this amount or do we have to decide today with such short notice?
They're gonna be asking us at the meeting.
Aren't the questions from Scott for the 29th?
Yes.
But it's still before another council meeting, but we just received them.
No, we
No,
don't
the
have.
next one's September 9th, right?
Yeah.
August won't be at
It
that.
should be September 1st.
No, sorry, next council meeting is September 9th.
Yeah.
But the next ICC meeting, I think he said he needed it for.
Oh, no. The next ICC is August 29th at 9.
Yeah, and he needed these answers for that meeting,
Yes.
is what he said.
August,
29th.
We don't have
and our
another
next
meeting,
meeting is,
September 9th.
so. Why haven't we had this brought to us prior to this?
The last time the next one would have been July 22nd. I wasn't.
Well, no, what I'm saying is Mr. Franchuk emailed this on August 8th. Now, when we were in a previous meeting with discussions with the fire, we were to get the appraised amounts
That hasn't happened yet.
as it happened. When did we get it?
The appraisal, they haven't got back to us on, because it was that I was supposed to select the person.
That's right.
I haven't heard from them yet.
That's right, and we just got it on Friday or Thursday, we got an email with the amount.
Okay, sorry, I haven't gone through all my emails yet.
No, but that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. This last minute stuff, has gotta stop.
How far in advance did we read?
Well,
It's Thursday to next, like.
when can you research on the information, like when can you research what a fire hall is gonna be worth? When can you research what our formula is gonna be? When can you research this? Like, if it's not,
This meeting's been happening, if you were running that information, you could have asked for it prior.
Oh,
Evelyn?
well, hold on, he does actually have a point, because I mean, this is actually why we have it. We don't ask for agenda items to be added at a certain, like, I find that it is last minute. I'm gonna actually support Terry in my frustration with all of this being given to us right at the last minute. And we are the judge of our own schedules, when to we read. So this is, we have to, so let's get back to this. We need to have a decision made today for the
Said-
29th.
Well, for the 29th, but I guess we have to have another time to figure it out.
Oh, that's okay.
Mel, you had your hand up, please.
Yeah, so it is a very short notice, only because I have a couple questions, but administrational, I'm sure you don't know the answers offhand if I ask you right now. Like, I wanna know what we charge for rent for both and the utilities, and like, I need a number.
So we charge $900 a month for utilities, which is the rent for the
Yeah.
fire hall. And then we sort of based
Well-
our rental of the.
don't say rent, because that, we
Utilities.
ran into that
Utilities.
problem with, can we remember?
Yeah.
Okay,
Walpole?
$900
For
a month for
utilities.
utilities for
That's
the
it.
fire hall. And then we charged, it works out to $906 a month for the storage unit that we.
For
we-
rent and
For rent,
utilities.
including utilities, and that's with us having 10% of the one bay, or 10% of
Mhm.
yeah.
The building.
So that's what we're charging right now. So to me, the fire storage is already, it's a moot point, because we already have that amount in the agreement that we just entered. But the big question is, do we want to charge more for the fire hall? We're charging 900 for utilities. We have the alarm system. Do we have a phone in there? Yes, we have a phone.
I don't think, there's no.
Is there anything else you want to consider? Do you want to, do you want to go back with a different amount? Was that one?
Yes. I do wanna go back with a
So-
different amount, cause that's only for
I
utilities.
did
Now
go
we're
back.
talking about the whole
This morning.
bay, like the whole thing, so. Also, will it, then do we still get 10% of the storage unit?
Well,
Cause that
we
will
didn't
change that
see
one.
A reason to change that one, because we felt we needed the space then. I feel that we would still need the space, and we're using the back row kind of thing. So unless you say, hey, they're taking it over, give it to them, we'll figure it out, right?
Well,
Cause then we charge the full amount and take, instead of us having 10%, then we charge them the full amount. And the size of the two buildings are very similar. The storage unit's actually slightly, according, on GIS, it looks like it's slightly bigger than the fire hall side of the public works building. So to put that in perspective of, that one's utilities, but it's just storage. So the utilities are lower over there, right? So whereas the fire hall side, I think we have more utilities.
Yeah, Mel?
Do you just need just like a broad direction, which way to go? Like, we don't have to set a solid number today, right? It's just like you guys are gonna go in and have discussions about it. So do you just,
No, we need a solid number so that they can have numbers to confirm how so we can get to the next steps of what it's gonna cost us and what else we have to consider with money. Cause if we don't, then we're still in the same spot.
but the ICC would, is
Like, it's all
subject
gonna
to
come back,
yeah.
yes, in a bylaw that we have to approve, yes.
Yeah.
But this is the start.
Trying to get ahead, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I see.
Once,
Yeah.
Where's the tomorrow?
Carrie?
once all this is decided, it's just gonna come back as a general bylaw, it's not gonna come back,
I know.
Yeah. Marianne?
So I'm just noticing the agenda for tomorrow, so the appraisal is on it, right? So,
That's a different,
okay, so this is not,
like, that's the, all the vehicles and what they're worth and how we can get paid back.
so there will be no overlap with this discussion coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow's just town and county to talk about
Yeah.
equipment and buildings, whereas this is back to the general ICC with everyone.
And the second part, the admin from the county had told us that it's decided at ICC, it doesn't come back to council. That's hard and firm.
No.
It will come back, but we'll just get to say yes or no, and then it
Right.
goes to mediation. So it
If we
does,
say no.
yeah, so you're right, it comes back, but it would really mess up progress if we don't. I think that we need to, tomorrow. I don't know, we can't make we don't have enough time to make this today.
Yeah.
So just got it.
Terry?
And what difference does it make to them how we decide to cover the costs?
So it can be pretty viable. That's like every,
File on the budget.
yeah, and so we.
Yeah, but our costs, they're gonna charge us for it. An amount. So how we're gonna have to pay them, so now how we get that money doesn't matter to them.
I agree with the, I agree with you with regards to the taxes. I think that
Yeah,
they
that's
just,
nothing to do with it.
we don't need regional tax. In my opinion, we would just adjust our taxes accordingly based on the budget. And then volunteer firefighter insurance, I mean, we're trying to retain firefighters. I don't know if we want to increase their percentage to 50-50. Again, my recommendation is with the way we've been moving towards retention of firefighters, that we keep it at 1/3 to the firefighter. And then the last one, again, it's part of the budget, it should just be in there. We don't do anything right now with the fireworks at Boomtown or Christmas, we donated the one year. So we do Canada Day and pancake breakfast, but I think that just goes in to the budget.
Can I make a motion to defer this to tomorrow's workshop
But then,
for discussion?
sorry, but we won't have a motion.
No,
And it's a workshop, we can't.
we can talk about
We
it,
can give direction.
but we can't, there's be no motion made.
And, yeah. I don't know if we need a.
And technically, it's your members that are representing you, so
And sorry, and so we didn't see this because Scott didn't email it sooner, or because you made reference that you weren't at the July 22nd meeting, so you didn't bring it forward? Because it's on as a last minute addition.
obviously.
What was the holdup?
Well, I was gonna bring it to the next meeting and I wanted to be there. And then Scott said, like, I was just gonna have my own, because I've had my own notes about it. And then, then Scott sent out a formal one, August 8th.
So we did talk at after the last ICC meeting, we did have broad discussion, but we didn't have a clear list, I guess, and I unfortunately I wasn't there, but that doesn't mean I should know what was discussed and whatnot, but we did receive this on Thursday. or
And
the-
if we're discussing it further, I guess, what are we looking at? What do we wanna know to make the decision on the rent? Like what are we, cause we know what we're paying for utilities and we know what they're paying already. What else do we want to consider, I guess?
Well, what I think is that the five of us need to come to a consensus what we would
Yeah,
like
no,
to charge
I-
on the rent, and honestly, for that, I don't know. I have nowhere to start, I need to wrap my head around this.
Terry?
My thoughts are that in stuff that I have noticed that they're doing with depreciating stuff down to zero values is not being fair, because if that piece of equipment, say, gets written off in an accident and has to be replaced, it's not gonna be replaced at that depreciated value. It's gonna be replaced at the present cost. There's a 2-year wait for fire trucks. So how do you do that? So now it's the same thing with this. They wanna go regional, they wanna run the show, but they want everybody else to cover the costs of having the buildings and stuff in place. That cost us a lot of money. It costs us a lot of money to maintain. I do realize we need it and they need it. All I'm asking for is for everyone to consider a fair share. And it's a tit for tat. Like, we invested a lot of money as a town in stuff that if we go back in history to usage, will speak for itself. But we still contributed what we contributed because we need the service. And when they come up and say that they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And I was actually under the assumption that I thought most of us were at the ICC. And that they were aware, you guys were aware that we were gonna be going with rent fix, that's what kind of they decided. So then I just assumed that there were numbers in people's heads or, you know, ideas. So, and I didn't think it would be a lot different than what we were charging as well, so I guess that's mine, I was just making assumptions. Marianne?
So, I'm just gonna, at this time, I'm just gonna put something on the table. We're at 13.1, we had a lot of last minute additions, and then we're going over to, and we have some closed session items. We're going over to set up at the Dropping Center for 4:30, I understand.
And Kevin is here to do an update for council as well, or to help answer questions.
At the meeting or?
Here, no, actually.
Oh,
We had till 5.
I know. See, we didn't have 8 last minute additions, so unfortunately, I agree, we're running out of time to get through the agenda. We want to make sure you're updated on the,
Been in as a delegation.
it was, yeah.
So I'm gonna propose at this point, based on the bulk of the work and the discussions, if maybe admin would have time to do like, I don't wanna see an email request, so I'd like an RFD for, if we recess the meeting till tomorrow, after the workshop, could we have things done and presented to us, or?
For which, for this one?
Or yeah, 13.1. It's beyond just, to me, it looks like it's beyond just questions. Barry?
I'd like to see what, they're coming back and they're saying that all these other communities like regionalization are doing this and doing that. Why isn't there something that said, I'm just taking this out of the sky, Camrose with Round Hill and whoever's beside it. This is what they did and how they did it. You know, it just some background to the requests. And we need to know the replacement costs of those buildings. So now you said that we were using the back row of the fire storage, so we've been in there about what, a year now? Or how long has it been? So does Public Works need that? Like, can they store that stuff somewhere else?
So
You know,
when we
that's
had
a
these,
bigger discussion.
yeah, when we
right?
had the discussions around the agreement, council chose to, the recommendation from our public works was to be able to store equipment indoors. We'd like to have a small portion and that had been the intention. So that was the lease agreement we signed back
That's
then.
right.
So we are using it. Right now, our winter equipment will be in there, and then in the winter, our summer equipment will be in there. But
And
if
that's
you
the only
said,
spot that it could be stored.
I mean, we have some other options, like, I'd have to talk to Public
But
Works.
that's what I mean,
Yeah,
is it something that we need, or can we say, okay, you guys can have 100% and then they pay 100% of the building?
yeah, I believe, and I think we could make that work if we wanted to do that, because between the south storage and one of the concerns was we put equipment in the wash bay and then we've got to empty it, those kinds of things. So I think there's some other options that we could figure out. It's not a huge amount of equipment, so we wanted to just say, these are now fires. We could adjust that rate, tell you what the utilities are. Again, comparing it to what we're currently charging for the fire storage, about the same size. Because we base that rate, I think, a little bit on the utilities on the other one. I don't know where we want to go with that rate.
No.
I'd like to see too, I think that if we can, Public Works for going this route should find other locations to store their stuff. But then I'd like to know what would that change? It would then they be paying, Regional Fire be paying for insurance on that building? Like, Or what do we? Those are the numbers that I would like to see before we can kind of, but I do think we should give them the entire building. Because no mixing, people going in and out and damage and things can happen. I just think it's best not to mix that if this is the route we're going. So I would like to, I agree with Mary Ann, bring it back tomorrow. We have people who represent us. We can have talks about it and go from there. I don't think we need a motion. We have faith in our counselors, right? So I think just let's wrap our heads around it, get those numbers back to us maybe for tomorrow, and then we can make a decision and finalize these then.
So going back to what I said, if I may, I would like to get to the one where it was Beaver Creek, and then I'd like to position this to the rest of council and admin. If we're going to set up for a 5 o'clock event, could we have a 15-minute recess for a snack or something just to,
Well, are we setting up for that?
or
Carly's setting it up.
we're going to meet something?
I'd like to debrief council ahead of time to make sure everyone's aware of the facts on top of what the package you've already received.
Do we need to have a call question on that
So-
motion? Or
Go ahead.
all in favor of Mary Ann's motion of?
So which was-
For the
Referring it to the,
after.
can I
Tomorrow
ask
to
a
the
question?
workshop.
Sorry, kind of in line with what Mary Ann had asked. So we have 8 or 7 more items, 8 including that one, plus 3 closed session. Does this become a priority over the workshop tomorrow? Or is it everyone okay staying longer or coming earlier? I'm just thinking, are you deferring you want a 15-minute break and a debrief and then get to the, should we be pausing the meeting and continuing it tomorrow and then either doing the workshop after that or deferring the workshop? Just putting it out there before you make an actual motion.
No.
Is any of these last minute under 13.1, is there any that can't wait till the next meeting?
Yes.
The one I said.
13.1 or 14.1?
13, under 13 last
Oh.
minute additions, those 8, besides the Beaver Creek one, is there any that cannot wait till September
13.3.
13.3? Yes, okay.
That's quick, just amending. Wording. Defer the rest. to the
We
next
can,
meeting.
or
14.32, 14.1, CAO check-in could be deferred, utilities. And then I'm not sure about the one that Councilor Mackler checked out.
but we could go in camera right now.
But I think everything else other than, I'd like to do 13.3, I think, unless, sorry, the ones I added, it's up to council and the other.
My thought process is I wanted admin to have a little bit of a break in between, or if anyone is a diabetic and needs a snack before we go to something else, right? So we're not rushed.
I know, but we have to deal with it first. No.
So I think what Mary Ann and Dawn are saying is stop the meeting. If they can, when we'll pick it up.
Let's make it easy.
Reconvene tomorrow at 3. Yep. And then we'll defer the workshop date or time or date.
With the omission, with the exception of 13.3, the Beaver Creek.
And 14.3.
So should we jump to 13.3 before we defer all the other items?
Yeah.
And 14.3 and then defer the rest.
Okay.
So 13.3,
So, well, we're still in this. What are we doing with this? We're calling this a defer.
we're gonna reconvene with all the items.
Yeah.
So all of it, oh, is that how you do it?
It's not a deferral, just a recess till tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, within the 72 hours.
All right, gonna jump to 13.3.
Purchase of land agreement.
No,
So this could wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can wait till tomorrow, actually. That can wait till tomorrow. So
13.7
one more day
is
is not
what
till this.
Mary.
Let's just do,
So 13.7 is the Beaver Creek.
yeah, mine can wait till tomorrow. Not next meeting, but tomorrow.
So based on the letter that went out, there was a close time at 6 o'clock. So I don't know if I have to introduce the letter into the content of this, but I'd like to look at rescinding that motion made by Councillor Morton to include the start time. Our motion currently says start time at 5, doesn't say a close time at 6. So if you would consider making that motion to have a close time and a council approved event.
I think there was a close time.
The motion says start at 5. The letter says close at 6. The advertising is close at 6.
And sorry, it should have said 2:06, we did talk about the 1 hour, but
So
I wasn't very clear on this.
the motion is in the previous minutes. Is it helpful if I give you the page number?
Motion number actually
Oh, sorry.
would be good. If you have it.
Yeah, so it's motion 395. Thank you. And it's just, it ends at, it's, the last thing it says in the motion is 5 p.m.
Okay.
And forgive me, it's just logistics, it's just,
No, but we will add. So, what you can do is, amend a motion without rescinding one. So I would be willing to make a motion to amend motion number
395.
395 to reflect closing time of the of the what?
Engagement.
Oh, the public engagement. I have such a hard time with that. Public engagement from 5 to 6 p.m. Thank you.
And a special,
And to make it a council approved event. So that's motion 395.
all right, all in favor? None opposed? All right, and we'll go to 14.3, third party negotiations, is that? You said today?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll need a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to go into closed for 14.3 for section 16, third party negotiations.
All in favor? Close. All in favor? None
What's the
opposed?
motion?
Yeah.
I'd oppose. And then I don't think there's any motion out of that, is there?
Recess the meeting till tomorrow.
A recess till 3 o'clock. And to defer the workshop or,
Let's just keep it for now.
Okay.
Yeah. Make a motion to defer the last minute additions 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4, 13.5, 13.6, 13.8. And 14, 1 and 2. To our continue at tomorrow's
3 p.m.
3 p.m. meeting. Recess this meeting and defer to tomorrow and it's the agenda. Very awkward.
First under,
Yes.
All in favor? None opposed, so carried.
Rhonda, do you want to come
The
in
meetings.
first for adjourn and then we'll bring in Kevin after that?
Meeting adjourned at 6:30.